Talk Shop, good morning.
Hello?
Yes.
Hey, Jack, how are you?
I'm doing fine.
Hey, listen, I got a gas grill for sale.
Okay.
And it's a Weber grill. It's fantastic. As a matter of fact, I'm grilling right now as I speak to you on my cordless phone, Jack.
All right. Number?
Hold on 1 second. I just got to turn the gas down on this here.
Oh, gosh. What in the world are these people doing? I mean, you think you're funny. Swap Shop, good morning.
Hello, Jack. How are you?
I'm doing fine.
Good. Thank you for taking my call. I'm looking for farm work. I just got laid off about a week ago. I'm looking for farm work. I'm looking to pump off some horses, some bulls. I collect semen.
This guy is crazy. This guy is crazy. I'm going to go there. You're an idiot. We got a lot of foul mouth in this guy or guys.
Remember when we first started, he didn't understand one joke. He let him go on and on.
Right.
Now, I tell you one thing, now he's paying attention to the show. And,
he's learned a lot.
Yeah. Now he's suspicious of everyone. He's so angry now, he starts hanging up on people who aren't even sound racist.
You're dumb. I mean, it's all you got to do. You are completely imbecile, dumb.
Imbecile.
Swap Shop, good morning. Well, I tell you what. Swap Shop, good morning.
Good morning, Jack. Hello?
Listen.
Yes, sir.
Can I help you?
Yes, this is Chief Jack Marlin from the authorities. I'm doing a thorough investigation on these.
Oh, come on. Swap Shop, good morning.
Jack, have you got caller ID in there?
No, but I'm going to have it. I'm going to have it pretty soon. I don't know who it is, and I've got some good friends with the phone company, and maybe I can request, them to...
Yeah, I think it's more than one.
And they're just completely dumb and silly.
You get the caller ID, you find out who it is.
Well,
it's like Granny from the Beverly Hillbillies.
I know.
But, I mean, how could she sound like that?
You got caller ID in there.
Probably only 30.
I love how he doesn't.
It's probably Pat Priest.
I love how he doesn't think that's a prank call.
Right. He wasn't sure, believe me.
Yeah, I used to play Marilyn on the Munsters.
bust their jaws. What I do. I'm smarter than they are.
They got to be safe.
I can just hang up.
Right.
If they get tired, darling.
Yeah, I just wanted to you get that caller ID and they'll do something.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Swamp Shop, good morning.
Jack, you really need to get caller ID for these morons.
Saying morons. Saying morons. If that's all you got to do, good grief. Swamp Shop, good morning.
Good morning, Jack. I got a washer dryer for sale.
Okay.
10 more.
All right. These guys are having a ball. I don't have, I can cut it off. And, you thank you, both of you. I hope some of my telephone people are get me these numbers. Swap Shop.
Hey, Jack. How are you doing this morning? Hello, Jack.
I'm doing all right. How about you?
I'm good, thank you. I'll tell you what, these pranksters, you send them on over to me, I'll take care of them.
All right, thank you, sir.
Yeah, I'll jack them up.
Same one. Swamp Shop, good morning. You're on the air.
I'm a vomit lover.
You go jump in the lake. Funny. Yeah, you are a funny thing. You're a comedian, but you're out of work. Oh, come on. That's all right. Swamp Shop, good morning.
I want to be a vomit coach.
Just go jump in the lake. Two of them right on the same phone or something. Don't even ask me. I will get your numbers, and by the time where you are, you're going to get me to come and see you. Swamp Shop, good morning.
What you say, cuz?
Hey, cousin.
All right. You fit this morning.
Well, yesterday just started. Some people, that's all they got to do, and I'm smarter than they are.
Right.
And I don't have to listen to it, so I can cut them off and move right along, you know?
There you go.
Ain't bothering me.
Right.
I've been doing this for 50-something years. I got more sense than they'll ever have.
Well, Jack, do you know where around where you can ship UPS anymore?
There are several businesses around that do that.
Okay, buddy.
Have a good day.
Jack.
Swamp Shop, good morning.
Seeing girls.
See there, I get the last fit. You guys are idiots. Hey, I control this thing. Not you. You don't have control of nothing. Swamp Shop, good morning.
Yes, Nick?
That's going to do it here this morning. And I want to thank all of you, except the jerks that keep calling and think they're doing somebody a favor. But
no thanks to them.
You ain't bothering me, folks. But I will.
No, you don't sound bothered.
I will get your number, and we'll deal with it.
Right.
We'll have to call the phone company, I reckon, and see if we can block that caller.
Get some of that new fancy caller ID equipment.
Sal and Richard were driving this public access show crazy again. It's very funny. This is called Talking Yankees.
Oh, yeah.
I love that show with
Yeah.
Sal and Richard.
Yeah, this guy gets us so upset with them, and they just call in every minute, and they're like the only two guys calling, and it just gets the guy all bummed out. Check it out.
I would like to hear what people have to say about Mariano Rivera, Derek Jeter, David Ortiz. I think I will take a caller. You're on the air.
Hey, what's up, Jonah?
I'm fine. What's up?
Hey, congrats on getting your show at 4.
Yeah, the guy moved his show to 4 o'clock so he wouldn't get any of these phony
He's
phone
running
calls.
from them.
Yeah.
I was starting to get a little tired of staying up until 2 o'clock on show nights.
I sure don't blame you. I'm a little tired today. I was up late last night, man. I found worms in my stool. And
Well, you know. You're on the air.
Hey,
Turn down the volume, please.
I am sick and tired of these idiots calling. You got a great show. It's very informative. Love the Yankees. Love what you're doing, man.
Thank you.
And
you have any
I wanted to say, one of my favorite parts of your show is when you talk about the weather. So,
Yeah, well, you know, one of my favorite shows, parts of the show is when people actually treat it seriously. So,
That part
these
sucks.
people have to get a life. So, no, that's not. You're on the air.
fucking worms will eat my ass.
So, yeah, there's going to be a ban on wireless callers from now on. So if you have a wireless, you're fucked. I'll give you a break. Get off my show. I'm not that stupid. As a matter of fact, I have your number, and I might call you later. Anyways,
Good.
yeah, I know who these people are too. I know their number, and now I know where they live. So stop calling, or I may pay a visit. I don't know what kind of time people have to call in and have prank calls. You're on the air.
Yeah, we're poking my poop.
No, Robert. Should I say your full name on the air and then give the phone number so people can call you? I think it's just Robert. Don't test me.
Meanwhile, it's Richard and Sal.
What if he goes over to a guy's house?
You're on the air?
Guy beats him up.
Ringworms are so.
So I only have 2 people calling in, and I guess that's because not many people know the new time of the show. You're on the airline too.
There's blood in my poop too.
You know, the fact of the matter is, and you guys need lives.
No one knew the old time of the show.
You need mental help. I have your numbers. I'll call you up after the show, and I'll make sure you get a good psychiatrist.
Yeah.
You want me, really? I will do this. Now, I'm not going to jeopardize my show by giving your numbers out on the air. But what I will do, is I will make sure that you get yours. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
Oh, come on. The same 2 people? Get off my show. You're on the air.
Ringworms are tickling my poop.
Okay, I got your number. You want me to read it out? It's 646. You want me to go further? These people probably aren't even they are watching the show because I can hear the stupid feedback. So, anyways, let's get back to the Yankees. Let's try. You're on the air. Hello?
You want to talk about Johnny Damon?
Yes, what about him?
Yeah, I heard Derek Jeter found worms in his...
Fuck you! You see, the thing is, you play nice with me. You know? If you don't want to call... You know, there's a... Computer programmers have always had this expression, and it's very accurate. It's called garbage in, garbage out. I can't have a good show without having good callers. And what I have are bad callers. Actually, I have no callers. No more calls.
Get the hint?
No more calls. That's it.
Next call after that. Welcome to Community Cop.
Hi, fellas. How y'all?
All right. Where you calling from?
I'm calling from Manhattan. Happy Martin Luther King Day.
Likewise. Statement or comment?
I had a comment. Actually, it was probably kind of a question.
Okay.
I was wondering, how many of you guys have fucked a fat white chick?
Okay. Next caller. Welcome to Community Cop. Next caller. Welcome to Community Cop.
That's part of the problem right there.
Next caller. Yeah, the Bible says don't answer fool according to his folly. Next caller. Welcome to Community Cop. Where you calling from?
Hello.
Yes. Yes, we can. Where you calling from?
I'm calling from Harlem.
Okay. Welcome. Quick statement or question?
Yeah, I actually got a problem. I had a deer tick crawling.
Yeah. All right. Next caller. Welcome to Community Cop. Next caller. Welcome to Community Cop. Could you tell me where you're calling from?
Hello there, motherfucker. This be Leroy Jackson from the Bronx, and I'm...
Next caller. Welcome to Community Cop. Where you calling from?
Yeah, Slama, brother. I'm calling from the Bronx.
Okay, welcome.
And I don't know who these fools be keep calling you and keep pranking your ass, but you guys are doing all right.
Well, thank you. What's your question or your comment?
Word. Now, I know there's a lot of you brothers sitting around there tonight. My question is, which one of you motherfuckers got the biggest black cock?
Yeah, and you.
Okay, thank you for that call.
I want to address that very quickly. I think it's almost insulting. Well, it's not almost insulting. It is insulting. Next caller.
Hello.
Yeah, welcome. Where you calling from?
Hi, I'm calling from West Harlem. How are you doing?
Welcome. Fine. Question or comment?
Deer tick crawled into my dick hole.
Remember, never answer a fool according to his folly. Just let those fools make the comments and come on and say their foolishness, and we just dismiss them and move on.
Let's go to the calls. Good morning. You're on the Swap Shop.
Good morning, Ron. How are you today?
I'm a little 5 seconds behind everything, it seems.
I'm 10 seconds behind. I got your beat there.
All right. So who's this?
This is Gary. I have a trumpet I'd like to sell.
Trumpet? Okay, Gary.
Yep, and
hold on a second. Trumpet?
Westinghouse trumpet.
Oh, Westinghouse brand. Okay.
That's correct.
I didn't know they made trumpets. Westinghouse brand. Okay.
It's a unique item. My son actually plays it himself.
All right. Well, how much?
Jerry, just play the trumpet one time for Ron.
All right. Okay, Gary, I'm about ready to turn this off, all right? I don't know how that call got through, but it got through. But anyway, sorry about that, folks. When it starts to become obscene, then that's the time we cut it off, all right? Let's go back to the phones. Good morning. You're on the Swap Shop. Sorry to keep you waiting. So it's going to be one of those days, folks. Well, all right. If that's the way you want to play, okay. Back to the phones. Good morning. You're on the Swap Shop. Oh, you know what? I have a question of you. I have a question for you. Listen up. You there? Are you there? Listen up. All right, okay. You don't want to answer. All right, anyway. So when you're dealing with people with the mentality of an 8-year-old, that's what you get. All right, that's it.
Welcome to Ron's Swap Shop. Now, here's Mr. Swap Shop himself.
All right, thank you very much, and welcome to the first hour of Ron's Swap Shop. Good morning on the Swap Shop.
Good morning, Ron. It's Jerry. How you been?
Good, Jerry. What's up? Is this Jerry in Thorndale?
That's right.
It is, right?
I'm selling a lawnmower.
Lawnmower, ride mower, push mower, what is it?
It's a ride-on mower by Toro.
Ride mower by Toro. Good brand. Okay.
Purrs like a kitten. It's practically brand new.
Oh.
I'm sitting on it now. Take a listen to this thing.
I think we had enough of that one. Okay, all right. I thought that was Jerry in Thorndale, but I was fooled. He did fool me. Got through. Okay. Good morning. Good morning to you. You're on the Swap Shop. I don't know how he keeps getting through, but whenever it rains, these wackos come out of the woodwork. So obviously, one of two things: either the rain and dreary weather sets off the mentality, or they have a job that prevents them from working outside. That's got to be it. So they're confined to the house and just a little nuts. Let's go to line 2. Good morning. You're on the Swap Shop. All right, back to the phones. Let's try this line. Good morning. You're on the Swap Shop. So anyway, phones are ringing. We'll be back in a moment. Take some calls on the Swap Shop. In the meantime, we got some music for you.
Wow.
Good evening. Do you have a question for Veronica tonight?
Hi, I'm here with my great uncle. He was in Vietnam, and he suffered from PTSD for many years. He's an animal lover, and when he was in the war, he had to do terrible things to animals. And anyway, I mean, he'd like to talk to you about it.
Caller, is your uncle on?
Yeah, he's right here.
I love animals. You know that. I wouldn't hurt a fly.
Okay.
Ho Chi Minh, one of his initiatives were to actually turn bears into soldiers.
How did he use that against you?
I once killed a bear, and I slept in it for 3 months.
And
I split him open, I got inside, and I used him as a sleeping bag.
I guess I'm trying to figure out is...
Wow, I'm having a flashback right now. I'm like, fuck you, bear!
All right, you jackass. What the hell was that? Look, people. Look, I don't know where the hell you people get this crap from. But you're going to call this program, and you're going to do crap like that, and you think you're going to get away with it? You have to be one of the stupidest individuals on planet Earth. I don't know what the hell's the matter with you people, but knock it off. This is a very serious conversation, and I apologize for callers like that. I can't do anything about these jackasses. We do have another caller online. Do you have a question for Veronica tonight?
I was in basic training. I had to wrestle a shark.
You idiot! My Lord, you know what? That gets me mentally ill when people do this crap. This is not the program that you can get away with this. I'm not going to let you. Unbelievable. We are running out of time, and we got 2 callers online, and I want to make sure that we get to both of them. Please don't be a troll. 37, you are now on the air. Do you have a question for Veronica tonight?
I killed the bear using a porcupine.
I mean, come on. You can't think of anything better to do in your life? All right, let's try this one.
It was me or the bear?
I don't know what's going on here. I apologize, Veronica, and I apologize, listeners.
Veronica.
I don't know why trolls exist, but they do. They're not going to get very far with me.
We should have a community that's thinking as a black person with a black mind and a black conscience to develop black businesses.
All right. Calls. All right, next caller. Welcome to Community Cop. Where you calling from?
Queens. Okay. How you doing, guys?
Okay, quick question or comment, brother.
I want to give a quick shout out to my Queens crew: Gary, Steve, Fred, Sal.
All right, next caller. All right, excuse me. Next caller. We don't do shout outs on this program. Next caller. Welcome to Community Cop. Where you calling from?
Good evening, gentlemen. This is Jim calling from Harlem.
Yes, quick question or comment, brother.
Yeah, I have a comment about Rizzo, but I want to also give a quick shout out to my South Harlem Griffith crew: Andy, Opie, Barnes,
Next caller, please.
Next caller, welcome to Community Cop. Where you calling from?
Yes, good evening, gentlemen. This is Lester Quivers. I'm calling from the Bronx.
Quick question or comment.
And I have to give a shout out to my One Dance Monster Posse: Eddie, Grandpa, Maryland.
All right, scratch that call. Next caller, welcome to Community Cop. Where you calling from?
Yeah, like I was saying, Herman Munster, Louis.
Hold on.
Next caller.
Next caller, welcome to Community Cop. Where you calling from? Quick question or comment?
I agree with this Bill Green from Harlem. I agree with the gentleman. And getting back to Frank Rizzo, what people don't realize is that he was involved as well with the Brady crew, Marsha, Jan, Cindy, Peter, Bobbitt, Greg.
Next caller, welcome to Community Cop.
Where you calling from?
Harlem. And a shout out to the Jeffersons crew up right.
Next caller.
Next caller. Welcome to Community Cop. Where you calling from?
This is Kobe Jackson from Brooklyn.
Okay, Brooklyn. Quick question or comment?
Yeah, my comment is this. Pickens was one of the only African-American politicians that had funding from the proper families. And I'm talking about the Partridge family. Yeah, Keith Partridge.
Right, next caller. Welcome to Community Cop. Where you calling from?
Yeah, like that caller was saying, you got Danny Partridge.
Next caller.
Yeah, you know when the guards get together, the devil always got to show up. But you said dismiss the devil and then flee. Next caller, welcome to Community Cop. Where you calling from?
Yeah, don't forget Mr. King.
Next caller, welcome to Community Cop. Where you calling from?
Yeah, shout out to my Clampett gang, Jed, Ellie Mae, Jethro.
Next caller, welcome to Community Cop. Where you calling from?
Give a shout out to Granny Clampett.
All right. Next caller. Welcome to Community Cop.
That's it.
Oh, that's it? Okay. Sorry, we ran out of time. Peace. And all you fools that call, listen, a bunch of fools have nothing else to do. But straight ahead, family members, straight ahead.
All right, 23 minutes after 9 o'clock. And, you know, if you're a legitimate, well, call the swap shop. Make a little bit of sense, and we won't have a problem. Swap shop.
Yeah, we'll see you tomorrow. Hello? Hi, Jack. How are you today? Sorry, I'm a little out of breath. Just ran and grabbed the mailman. How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing all right.
So, I got a couple things for sale. Sorry, let me catch my breath here if you give me a second.
I ain't putting up with that junk today. So don't start it. Don't start it. Come on, idiots. You can fool me once, but you ain't gonna fool me twice. Yeah, you know, you don't harass people. And the whole world listening to you. So don't even start it. Don't even think about it. So I get the best laugh. You call back, I will hang up. Swap shop, good morning.
You hung up on me, Jack. I wanted to tell you I got quilts for sale. And I got 3 quilts. And I'm selling them for $5. Hold on. Are you still there, Jack?
No.
Huh?
No. Give me your phone number.
It's 5.
No, that ain't gonna work.
3. I'm out of breath.
I don't care. Don't call up anymore, idiot. All you got to do, you got that much breath, you need to go to the hospital or something. All these people are having fun. Now, he about got me yesterday, and they switch around on me a little bit, but that's all right. Swap shop, good morning.
Good morning, Jack. How are you?
I'm doing fine.
What in the heck is going on today with these pranksters?
I don't know. It started yesterday, and I think it's some people out of state, and they just discovered our stuff, and they really poking fun at our people, and I don't like that.
I don't like it either. It makes you look like a jackass, and it's not fair. You've done a good show, Jack.
Thank you, sir.
Anyway, I got something for sale here. I'm getting rid of some of my wife's stuff. I have something from Chef Mike Morales. It's the salad tosser. Everybody likes to have the salad toss. Do you like the salad toss, Jack?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And it's the Chef Mike Morales salad tosser, and we have some exotic European tea bags. So you can have fun tossing salad with all your friends, and the tea bags are great for Dunkin', too. You ever get tea bag, Jack? Oh, it's fun. Everybody loves a good tea bag and then some good old salad tossing. So that's the Mike Morales salad tosser and exotic tea bags, great for dunking. And I'm asking $15 for that.
Okay.
All right, and you can reach me at 58. And I hope you call the authorities.
Well, ain't much I can do about it except, you know, just hang up and I'll go on. I'll have a better day.
Morons just making you look like a stupid jackass.
No, but that's all right. Hey, have a good day.
It really bothers me. God bless you, Jack.
Thank you.
Don't.
Swap Shop, good morning. You're on the air.
How much was that salad tosser, Jack?
Don't even go there. You're still having fun, aren't you? Yeah. Swap Shop? You're funny. You are funny. So I know they're listening. Biggest idiots we've ever had on this station in 34 years. So don't even call. Because I'm going to call the phone company I get off. I will get to the end of this. We'll be back after this. It's not an easy job helping to care for all the people in this area. But you must agree.
Good morning. It is Tradio. I'm Bruce filling in for Original Ray because it's Wednesday, which means that's Ray's day off. He'll be back on Saturday for Tradio. Yay, now that that's out of the way. Caller 1, that's you. You're on Tradio.
Good morning, Ray. How are you?
Well, I'm Bruce, but that's fine.
Well, where's Ray?
Ray, it's his day off.
Oh, is he on today?
No, I'm on for Tradio. I'm in his stead.
Okay, well, can I talk to him?
He's not here on Wednesdays. He's on the rest of the week. I'm still doing it fine, though.
Oh, okay, that's good. Well, can you hand the phone over
What do you
to
got to buy,
him?
sell, or trade?
Well, what time is Ray in tomorrow?
I'm not sure. What do you have anything you want to buy, sell, or trade?
Well, I wanted to know when Ray was going to be on.
Well, he's not on today. He'll be back on tomorrow, 10 o'clock.
Well, I'm working tomorrow. Is he going to be on Friday?
Yeah, he'll be on there Friday, too.
Okay, well, if I can't get a hold of him on Friday, is he on Monday?
Yes, he's here every day of the week except Wednesdays and Sundays.
Well, that's why he's not here today?
Yeah.
Oh, was he on Saturdays, too?
Yeah, he's on Saturdays, too. I'm sorry, do you have something you want to buy, sell, or trade, or give away?
Well, I do, but I wanted to talk to Ray about it first because it's kind of a personal item between us, and I need to ask him if it's all right if I sell it.
Well, I'll tell you what. You give me a call back tomorrow then, okay?
Huh?
You give a call back tomorrow then.
Well, what if I'm busy tomorrow? It's Wednesday, and I want to talk to him today on Wednesday.
He's not on here on Wednesday, so.
Well, is he coming in for lunch or anything after the show today?
Well, all right, we got to get going here. We got more callers waiting, okay?
Well, hold on. Hello?
We got to get going.
Well, I'm sorry, Ray. Just hold your horses if you could, because I don't really think my question's been answered yet.
Yeah, I think it has, and he'll be on here tomorrow, Friday, Saturday, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday next week.
But does he come in the afternoon?
I'm going to have to move on. I'm sorry.
I need Ray.
Anyway, we're going to get to caller 2, and that's you. You're on Tradio.
Bruce, how you doing today, buddy?
I'm good.
Bruce, what in the love of the Lord is going on with those gosh darn pranksters? They don't have a brain cell in their noggin.
I guess not. I don't know.
It's just gosh darn ridiculous. Hey, anyway, when's Ray back in? He back in on Monday?
Yeah, he'll be back on Monday.
Great, because he had a rash on his apple bags, and I lent him my ball cream, so I want to make sure he gives me that sumbitch back.
Okay, well, there's that call. All right. Odd calls today. It seems to be a pattern. Still playing phone roulette, and caller 3, that's you. You're on Tradio.
What the hell's going on there, Ray? Some jerk-off was just being rude to me when I was asking for you.
Yeah, watch the language there, Chief.
What do you mean by Chief, Ray?
You got anything to buy, sell, or trade?
Your voice sounds weird today, Ray. What's going on with you?
Yeah, we're going to move on to the next caller. We're on caller number 4. Hopefully that goes better. Hopefully that's a legitimate call. If you have any legitimate calls that you would like to make today, I would be more than happy to take them. And this is happening yesterday, and it's happening again today. So that way to not waste the other listeners' time, if you have something you'd like to legitimately put on Tradio, and we have time for one more caller, and that's you. You're on Tradio.
Ray, my sack is redder than a baboon's ass. I need my goddamn ball cream.
Okay.
Ay, what a show. We've got Sal and Richard making a new phone call to Community Cop. They call it the coughing and sneezing calls. They just literally call in coughing and sneezing. Let me play that for you. I can see you're intrigued.
The history of enslavement of our people in this country is one of the most quietest secrets. But next caller, welcome to Community Cop. Where you calling from?
I'm calling from Harlem. Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Welcome.
Got a little bit of a cold today. Think I caught it in church yesterday for my grandson. We were...
All right, next caller, welcome to Community Cop. Where you calling from?
Yeah, what's happening, brothers?
Welcome.
There's Sal.
Philip calling from the Bronx.
All right.
I just want to say, as far as the pastors are concerned in the community, I've experienced something, excuse me, as far as the pastor in my community.
Okay, well, that's really not relevant. One of the things that we intend to do on this program is talk about serious issues. Next caller, welcome to Community Cop. Where you calling from?
Not feeling too good.
Next caller, welcome to Community Cop. Where you calling from?
Yeah, I've been saluting my brothers. Yeah, I just want to say, oh, yeah.
All right, click that one. Next caller, welcome to Community Cop. All right, next caller, welcome to Community Cop.
That goddamn old lady gave me a cold over the phone.
All right, see, one thing you have to understand, you're dealing with a group of strong, intelligent black men, okay? So you can call it your foolishness. We're just going to ignore you. We understand where you come from. We understand your history. We understand your nature, what you're about. It doesn't faze us in the least. Okay, next caller, welcome to Community Cop. Where you calling from?
Why do you keep hanging up on me, sir?
Next caller, welcome to Community Cop. Where you calling from? Caller, are you on the air?
How you doing tonight, man?
As we wind down, where you calling from?
Yeah, I'm calling from the Bronx, and I'm sick as a fucking dog.
All right, we'll try to get one good caller, next caller, and hold it. One thing that I'm not trying to imply, I'm not going to say dogmatically, we have a lot of sick individuals throughout the city, and just listen to the voice. But we'll try to take another phone caller. Where you calling from?
Medication. I'm calling from Manhattan. I just shit my diaper.
Next caller? Next caller. Next caller.
And it went on and on.
No.
Yeah. It's great, isn't it? Those guys really worked that one hard.
9 to 5, pay the bills, and that's it. Yeah.
Hello?
Okay, yes, we have a call. Yes, your name, please?
Hi, Rusty.
Okay, hi, Rusty.
Hi, I'm 32 years old, and I recently had kind of a change in my life where I kind of felt my calling and I changed careers.
Okay.
And I discovered I had a talent, and so I decided to take kind of a change in my life. I discovered that I can lick my own asshole.
Oh, come on. And, you know what? I may have to just drop this stuff. We got to do a lot better on this. You know, this happened at the end.
He seemed normal last time.
I know.
I hope he does get something from it. And you know what? Maybe if your calling is to make dirty phone calls, you'll find a career in that. But it's
Actually,
not
people
here.
have
He did find it.
made phones career out of that, the prank calls.
Right. Hey, you helped him.
He found his calling.
I found the new calling. I can lick my own asshole.
You know, handling money is a complicated business. That's why Bank does so many things to help make the job easier for you. All right, thank you very much. 13 minutes before 9 o'clock. Hope all of you are having a really, really great day, and we'd like to hear from you. Swap Shop, good morning.
Hi, Jack. How are you this morning?
Oh, I'm here.
Jack was actually my husband's name, God rest his soul, died in 43. His full name was Jack Off.
Well, let me see what I'm doing.
Last number that called this line was 666-666-6666.
Oh,
To call this number.
All right. Okay.
Thwarted again.
Yeah, I may do that several times through the program, and if I do, just call back. And I'll, what I'm doing, we've had this here 20 people, and I'm checking to get the last number that calls from the last 2 days. And
It's pretty cool. They had the sixth sign of Satan.
Wow.
And this is a religious show.
The number of the beast.
The number of the beast was used.
Maiden.
Number of the beast. Wait a second, that's the number of the beast.
That's the number
I
of the
told
beast.
you, I'm fighting the beast.
Beelzebub just called me. Kill them all.
Embarrass anybody or cut anybody short, but I am up to something today. All right, and we'll just see what's going on. You know what I mean? Swap Shop, good morning.
Good morning. I hope I'm doing this right. Somebody told me if I needed a job, that I could call your radio station.
Go ahead, you're on, ma'am. Go ahead.
I'm looking for a job. I do housekeeping. My phone number is 74.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a good day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Swap Shop, good morning.
Good morning.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, lady, before call for a job, I have a job for a rim job. Or a blow job. Before call for a job, I have a job for a job. Or a blow.
So he's doing
The last number that called this line was 969-969-6969.
69.
Well, I don't know. That is so sick. And doesn't identify themselves. Idiots. The news are going to start. Gotta call the phone company or somebody. I don't know how numbers can be found. So I got to call them, see what I can do about that. That one that called a minute ago is sick. You know, somebody that's foolish, dumb, stupid. Can't do much about them. Swap Shop.
Hello, Chuck. How are you?
See, that's that idiot again. Swap Shop, good morning.
Good morning, Jack. Each time that person calls, jot down your number, the time that he's calling in.
Well, I tell you, I mean, these are sick people.
Well, they are.
I've been doing this for years, and this is, we've had a few pranks, but this is really ridiculous.
Well, there's Christians, and that's
I know, but hey,
beyond. But hey, it's not your fault.
I'm trying to cut it off,
Have a great day.
Thank you, ma'am.
Bye-bye.
So we'll write the time next time that jerk calls, and then I'll write it down, and we'll try that. The time, write the time down. Swap Shop. Whoop, didn't quite make it. All right, getting some help on this filthy talk, filthy mouth, and so we'll try that. I'm gonna write the time, and people just don't have any backbone or nothing. Swap Shop, good morning.
Yeah,
Swap Shop.
Yeah, I'm interested in the rim job, I guess.
Oh, the time on that one was 9:38 a.m. So I got something to go by. Swap Shop.
Yeah, they're
hello.
Available, the rim job?
Okay. And that would be 9:43 a.m.
What's the temperature?
See what can be done. Swap Shop, good morning.
How much for...
All right, boy. Time and a time. I ain't answering that phone anymore. Not on that line I want. I don't know. I just don't know. All right, thank you very much, and that'll do it for this morning's Swap Shop.
And we are back on the Swamp Shop. You're on the air.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Oh, I'm finally glad I got through the Health Talk Radio, Frog Dog. My name's Ronnie Mund. I'm 82 years old. So I wanted to ask you, your medical advice. I'm I suffer tremendously from rectal itch.
Yeah, well, we don't do suggestions or things like that medically.
Well, this is
Or
Health Talk legal. Radio with Frog Dog and Stinky Pits, is that right?
Well, it's the talk radio, but we're on the swap shop portion of it.
Oh, well, Frog Dog gave this number out, Health Talk.
Yeah.
I don't have any insurance anymore.
Gotta go.
You know that gosh darn Obama's taking.
Gotta go. So I'm sorry about that. We just
These guys who host radio, I mean, they're real straight guys. I mean, they can barely function when someone
Right.
calls up with some nonsense. They sound like they're 100 years old too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then now Richard gets it's a Sal Richard tag team thing on this guy.
don't do that. You're on the air.
Hi, how are you today?
Doing fine.
I'm calling about loose bowels.
Well, I don't know who this joker is, but he needs to find something else to do with his spare time. Good morning. You're on Swap Shop.
Good morning.
Yes.
What in tarnation's going on today?
You know, there's somebody that always likes to have a little fun, I guess. Got nothing to do on this holiday, and
gosh darn idiots.
Likes to see himself, or likes to hear himself talk, probably.
Well, there's children listening to this stuff.
I know it.
And there's some good Christians like myself listening as well.
Right.
Anyway, I took a whiz this morning and a cockroach came out of my dick hole.
Oh, goodness. I don't know. We got some weird people. Maybe we're going to have to get caller ID or something. Get on there.
Good morning.
Yes.
Yeah, hi. My colostomy bag.
Yeah. Sorry you got a problem. In fact, you got more than that. You got a bad problem. You're on the air.
Hi, how are you?
Well, I'm doing fine.
Well, I got a tiller for sale, but I want to tell you real quick, too, I think those health calls you're getting, they're not pranksters. I'm watching here a TV show that's got your number up for a show called Health Talk with Frog Dog and Stinky Pits.
Well, it's not us.
Well, yeah, but I think people are calling you by accident thinking it's this show.
What's your phone number? Yeah.
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 Well, do you know how to fix loose bowels?
No, I sure don't. And as we said, this is not a medical show. It's not a video fun show or something like that.
A video fun show.
Less things to do with their minds.
What is a video fun show?
I don't know. We'd have to call him and ask him to give us an example of a video fun show.
He's so totally thrown by this that like he just says things. Video fun show. My goodness, they get thrown.
Up shop, you're on the air.
Hey, cuz, you're doing a good job. Good job. I gotta tell you, I went on the internet myself, and it's true, your number is out there as a medical program.
Yeah, but like I say, the people are, if they're listening, they know this is a swap shop. It's not a medical program.
All right, well, we need to let the people know because my asshole's itching.
Well, that's what I'm trying to do. It's, people like you that causes a lot of problems. And if we can get a trace on your number, you can be in a lot of trouble. You're on the air.
Anybody believe that? If we could get a trace, we're going to have to get a caller ID or something like that.
Yeah, they're now going to start investigating.
Yeah.
I pooped on me.
Good. And we're going to take a break with that, and we'll be back after these commercial breaks.
Anyway, they're the boys on Swap. Richard called a lady with multiple voices.
What happened was Richard called a woman that was selling 3 different items. Do you remember?
Oh, yeah.
And he used multiple voices.
Yeah, I remember this. This is so unbelievable. Richard taped himself, and then every time he started talking, he had himself talking over himself, and it drove the woman insane. Sometimes I go back to Richard's room, and I just see him with headphones on laughing. He's giggling to himself, and I know he's up to some weird shit. This is pretty good.
Hello.
Hey. Hi, how are you?
I'm fine.
Yeah. I'm calling about the fur coat that you had advertised.
Are you on a cell phone? I cannot understand you.
Yeah, I'm calling about the Kenmore dryer.
Okay, just a moment.
No problem.
I'm so sorry, sir. You caught me with a mouthful of salad.
Oh, I'm sorry about that.
Yes, I do have the Kenmore dryer.
How much you want for the fur coat?
We were asking $20.
I don't know if I'm interested in that.
I wish that our phone was clearer because I do not understand what you're saying, sir.
Yeah, I'm calling about the coat, actually.
And the dryer?
Yeah. No.
I cannot understand.
Hey, can you hear me all right?
Are you interested in the basketball goal? What?
Yeah, well, the goal, yeah.
And then you're echoing again. I'm sorry. I cannot understand.
Yeah, I'm really decided about that.
I'm sorry. It might pay, if you would, to hang up and redial the number, and let's try to clear the line. Would you
I'll
like
give you a
to
call
see-
back. Can you hear me?
It sounds like 3 people are on the phone talking at the same time.
Yeah. No.
Okay, now which one are you interested in? The fur coat, or the Kenmore dryer, or the basketball goal?
The basketball dryer.
Yes.
Hey, it's me again.
Yes, sir.
Hi, I'm calling back about the dryer and the basketball goal and the first on the coat dryer.
Okay. What about the fur coat? Are you interested in buying it?
Yeah. No.
You're saying yes, and someone in the background is saying no.
Yes.
I'm sorry, sir. Something's wrong with your phone.
Yeah, I know. Think so.
You need to get your phone corrected.
There's nothing wrong with my phone.
Hello?
Hi, hello.
Yeah?
I'm calling about the garage sale.
Wake somebody up at 5:30 in the morning for a garage sale? You're crazy.
Let me just double check my paperwork here.
What the hell's the matter with you?
Well, what the hell are you calling me crazy for?
What do you want?
I'm sorry, I think we got off on the wrong foot.
I'm pretty sure we did.
I apologize. Now, you're having the garage sale.
I am not having a garage sale.
Well, that's what it said in the paper.
Well, I don't know what the paper's got.
It says that you were having a garage sale, and I wanted to come down and ask you how much you wanted for the garage.
You. How would you like the phone company to get your phone number? The phone company didn't track you down yet?
Hello?
Hello?
Hi, you had just talked to my husband, and he might have upset you on the phone.
Nobody wakes me up at 5:30 in the morning for a goddamn garage sale.
And he beat me a while ago because he was mad.
Hello?
He beats me.
No.
Listen, Miss, why are you giving my wife a hard time?
Your wife. It sounds like a wife. It sounds like a couple queers. Here we go.
Police, how can I help you?
Yes.
This is the police. How can I help you?
How can you help me? There's somebody who keeps on calling my phone number. They keep calling. I want you to get them.
Great. We will follow through with this immediately. Please give me the number.
You're not the police. You're those queers it's called.
How dare she? You bitch. I'm a woman, and I'm...
You good-for-nothing queers.
Oh, my goodness.
Good-for-nothing queers.
Hey, that girl voice is great.
Oh, yeah, perfect.
Surely the gays have nothing to do but phone prank her.
Yeah.
Welcome to Ron's Swap Shop. Now, here's Mr. Swap Shop himself.
All right, lines are open for the Swap Shops. Thank you for that very nice introduction. Let's go back to the phones. Good morning on the Swap Shop.
Good morning. How are you today?
I'm well today. How are you?
I'm good. Well, you know, it's deer season now, and I got some deer meat I want to sell.
Okay.
I use a whole deer. I got some of the more exotic type of meat. Like I got 15 pounds of grade A deer vagina lip steaks, and you can also make vagina lip chili.
You know what? This is the guy. All right. Okay. Let's we'll track the phone numbers. We got to go through that again. Good morning. You're on the air.
Hey, Ron, I also got 4 pounds of deer penis. You can make deer penis sandwiches.
Jeez, what is going on with this guy? Grow up, will you, please? Well, you're a grown man, and you act like a child 8 years old. How do people get off on that, just acting so stupid? You know where that stupid caller is calling from? You know, you won't believe it. From Sirius Radio. What's that all about? Sirius Radio puts up their employees to call the Swap Shop shows and act like an idiot.
Yes, they do.
Let's try the phone again. Good morning on the Swap Shop.
Good morning.
Yes?
How are you, Ron?
I'm okay. Who's this?
This is Fred Norris from Downingtown.
Yeah, what is it, Fred from Downingtown?
Yes, sir. And I have to agree with you, Ron. You run a great show, and I hope you follow through on those gosh darn idiots.
Well, we will. You know, I'm surprised this came out of Sirius Radio.
Don't those idiots have anything better to do?
Guess not. All right. Talk to you.
Well, hold on, Ron. I'm selling something.
All right. What is that?
Well, I'm selling hold on, Fluffy. I'm on the phone. Sorry about that. I'm selling a Westinghouse shotgun.
Okay.
It's a 12 gauge.
All right.
Fluffy, stop licking the gun. Oh, Fred, I just shot Fluffy's asshole
Well, this is really nuts. Yeah, it's gotta be. I know who's, this is really stupid. All right, we'll continue with the show on a more adult level. Good morning on the Swap Shop.
Cousin Jeff, get away from that shotgun!
This guy is really persistent. I'll give him that. Anyway, get a job or do something with your brain. All right. Be productive. Okay. All right. What else do we have here? This person is really persistent, but I hate to tell you. Okay, I'm going to answer the call. Go ahead. You're on the Swap Shop.
Got 7 pounds of deer rectum tacos.
There are just, people with no purpose in life, and they just find these little things to do, and what are you going to do? And good morning, you're on the Swap Shop. And another one. Okay, so there's 2 going at it now. So we have 2 frickin' frack out there, 2 lame brains with mush for brains. Good morning, you're on the air.
Ron, I got 3 pounds of deer taint meat.
And good morning, you're on the Swap Shop.
Hey, Ron, boy, it sure is hard to get through to you today.
I'm sorry, because we're getting so many screwball calls, but I'm sorry about that.
Well, anyway, I'm selling a washer dryer. The dryer works fine, but the washer's a little bit on the fritz. My wife Ethel gummed it up trying to wash her used tampons.
Oh, my God. What is this? This is really stupid. We trace these calls to Sirius Radio, and I'm beginning to wonder if it's Howard Stern to put up some stupids to do his dirty work for him.
No way.
I really believe that, because I understand that he's bent on disrupting shows of this nature, like swap shops around the country, right. And he has his idiot followers call around and pose and do these sort of things to the show hosts. And be right back after this.
Listen to that music. Miami, Florida.
Yeah, David, I don't know if it was you or somebody else from In Living Color, but you said that you ran into J-Lo once after she was famous and that she wouldn't even look at you?
No, that was Robert Schimmel, I think, or somebody else.
Oh, really?
Actually, J-Lo and I can't say J-Lo, Jennifer.
Right.
There's no J-Lo.
No.
J-Lo.
She's always been cool. We've always been cool. When I see her, we talk, we say, hey, get a hug, a kiss.
Isn't it weird, like somebody who was sort of like on the periphery of your show, and then like all of a sudden they become this big star? It's got to be weird.
It was like when I remember we went to the Vanity Fair party, you know, and J-Lo came up. She was so devastatingly hot in this like kind of translucent dress.
And again, did you
completely made over?
But did you kick yourself in the head like, how come I couldn't recognize that Seinfeld would be here? How come I can't recognize that J-Lo would have been a hot chick? I mean,
yeah, you could have plucked her right out of the crowd.
You know what I mean? Like, you could have gotten her.
Well, I could have, but, that would prevent me from going for years home to my tequila closet and just crying myself.
He does have a bad eye. David doesn't remember this. In 1995, I met him at the Comedy Store, and he told me I would be the biggest star in show business.
I did meet you, though, Artie.
Can you imagine? You know what it's like, though? It's like JD on our show. Like 5 years from now, became the biggest star in the business. That's what David's talking about.
That's right. Going to my tequila closet.
Right. I will tell you something.
Go ahead.
There was a night. You asked did I ever just did it? No, this is worse. I remember reading the cover of Variety, and it was like Martin Lawrence got $20 million for his first. And I was driving the 101, and I pulled over, and I just said, you know what? I just need a minute, because that was at a time where I'd gotten this divorce, and I was paying out of my ass. I had to do every job. This is when dudes in Harlem were like, what the fuck are you doing? Pauly Shore, man, what's up? Tom Arnold. And I was like, you don't understand. So I did pull over. I just sat for a minute.
Did you cry?
I didn't cry, but I took a lot of deep breaths. I said, ooh, $20 million. And I started the car, and I just went right on back to work. It was, it was hard.
Man, that is tough. Do you have a lot of money? I mean,
I do. I mean, listen, I've been very fortunate. Do I get $20 million of film? No, but I've always worked.
But here's the thing. In Living Color didn't pay you anything because they got you when you were young, and you used to be your first gig.
Well, Fox wasn't a network. That's
right, exactly. So it was they could do whatever they want. They didn't have to pay you. And Comedy Central ain't paying you.
They're not
paying,
a network.
A bit. They're paying more than normal people make.
Right.
You know what I mean?
But where was the chunk of dough that you made? Like, was it the movies?
I did. You know what? Here's what happened.
Yeah.
After the second year of Living Color, I sat out. Jim Carrey sat out. Jamie Foxx tried to sit out. A lot of people did. Yeah. And so then I started getting paid more. So what I'm saying, I've always had a pilot. I've always had a development deal for the last 10 years. I have always had some kind of development deal. So I've always been getting money, getting paid, doing well. It's just I never did tremendously billion trillion dollar well.
Jason, you're on the air in Columbus, Ohio with David Allen Greer, the host of Chocolate News. You got to watch it tonight at 10:30 on Comedy Central. It's getting great reviews. Go ahead, Jason.
Hey, David.
Hey, what's up, man?
I was wondering if you knew that Howard banged your Boomerang co-star, Robin Givens.
Yeah, I did know that.
Well, you did. Did she call you?
I dated her. I didn't say I banged her.
Did she call you?
On.
I did know that. Let me tell you a story.
Yeah.
So, Damon and I were in Robin Givens' trailer when we were doing Boomerang. And Damon and I, we really wanted to ask Robin about Mike Tyson.
Right.
We didn't know how, so we sitting there giving each other eyes like, you go ahead. So Damon goes, what happened with you and Mike Tyson? And she goes, her eyes welled up, and she went, we were just two young kids in love. And we just went, we left the trailer and fell out laughing. It was crazy. It was crazy.
She's a very nice
She
girl.
is.
She really is. She is. And beautiful. You don't get more beautiful than that.
I ran into her in the drugstore, and she had a little son. I think she had two kids.
She does. She has two kids. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
There you go. Walk down memory lane.
She didn't call you and tell you about Howard, though, huh?
I didn't know that. I would have asked her. I would have said, what's going on?
She probably would say, I prefer not to talk about that.
But how long did you go out with her?
We went out, how long, Robin? I don't know.
A few months.
A few months.
Oh.
A couple of months we dated.
We were just a young kid and an older man in love.
She likes powerful men.
Yes, I'm glad to be in that group.
You got up in the draws. Now, is that the only black woman or what?
That's the only black woman I dated. In Roosevelt, I tried to date a lot of black women, but you got to understand, I'm older than you.
Yeah.
When I was growing up.
What is that noise?
Chris, are you there?
Yeah.
Could you stop the noise?
Oh, I thought that was a sound
hold on
effect.
just a second.
What are you, in guitar lessons?
Yeah,
Dude, I thought that was like they were playing music.
Yeah, who are you, Crosby, Stills, and Nash? No, but you got to understand one thing. When I had major crushes on a lot of black women when I was growing up, and I would try to date them, and the girls would say, "You crazy? We're gonna Yeah. It's not in this community. It's just never going to be. Which, I mean, first of all, I'm not the most delightful guy to go out with, but maybe they were using that as an excuse.
Yeah,
but
maybe they would have bent the rules.
there's no
in other
chance.
cases.
Yeah, there was no chance. I was in love with this girl, Judy. She had the most beautiful afro. She was tall, thin. I mean, I would have given my left nut to go out with her, but she looked at me like, what the fuck, are you crazy? I'm not going to ruin my reputation going out with an asshole like you.
I had a black chick crush in high school, man. This chick, Toy Green.
Now that's a black girl name.
Toy Green.
Toy Green.
Smoking hot.
That's a stripper name. Then.
Chris, go ahead. Ask your question in Longview, Texas.
Okay, well, David kind of hesitated whenever he, asked if he was with somebody famous. Was Lori Petty maybe the girl that he might have been?
That's true. No, Lori Petty and I dated for quite a while. She was the first relationship I was in.
Who is Lori Petty?
She was in Tank Girl. She was in
and
a lot of big
the
movies.
big movie, the baseball movie.
Right. A League of Their Own.
League of
She
Their
was
Own.
in. She's very beautiful.
What's the problem there? Why didn't you?
Nothing. I'll tell you what the problem there was. Timing. Because it was the first relationship after I had gotten a divorce. So it was if she left a piece of lint in my house, I was over there, here you go. I had just gotten out of this. I wasn't trying to get married. But yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right.
Well, let me tell you something. You are a delightful man to have on the show. Super talented guy. I love everything you did in Living Color.
Thank you.
Was, I mean, really, just amazing. And
groundbreaking,
groundbreaking stuff. And
We're
now
still talking about it.
I'm wishing you a lot of luck on this Chocolate News premiering tonight at 10:30 on Comedy Central.
You know what I wanted to ask him about Living Color? Well, you forget all the shit he did. The two gay guys.
Yeah, I was going to say, you going to have any gay characters in Chocolate News?
I do play
you got to throw them in there.
Transgender. Character.
Yeah.
And, when they put the titties on, it was one of those, it was so fucked up because I was walking to the set and the crew guys were like, hey, what's up, man? They all had like cameras and stuff, and I knew if this is not funny, I am fucked. I'm like going to be blogged into the shitter. But it was very funny. So new characters, all new stuff.
I wanted to ask him about because the guys writers on his show, executive produced Mad TV. These guys faxing at him. They're real funny guys. And I used to ask them all. We used to ask them all the time. The character you did where it was you and Tommy Davidson doing those guys with the car, like the BAM!
The BS Brothers.
What was the name of those guys?
Clavel. My name was Clavel. Yeah. Those were guys.
What was that based on?
Those are real guys.
Really?
Because the first year of Living Color, there was no security.
Right.
So people, I remember one time the Fly Girls were dancing, and these two dudes tapped Lisa, one of them, hey girl, hey, let me get your number. That kind of stuff. Guys would come down into makeup and dudes would be up there, and those were those guys who would hit on Keenan like, hey, look here, brother, I'm trying to get a script to Spike Lee. Now, what can I do to help you help me? And we started doing those guys for him and all that stuff. And so that's where they came out. They were real dudes.
These characters always have their card, like this hot chick, like in a tub. He's like, BAM!
And it's black people. Everywhere I go, I meet people. I met this dude in the Burger King line at the airport. He's like, hey, man, what's up now? Do a little barbershop thing. What can I do to produce one of your shows?
What are you talking about?
Didn't you just tell me you cut hair? Yeah, only black people will do that shit. Havret, what can I do to get a production with you?
Clayville.
But it's so true because I guess every black guy says, hey, why are you not helping me? I'm a black guy too, and you have to step up to the plate.
Well, last night we were coming out. Friend of mine, Drew Frazier, black dude, comic, and this other dude comes up. He says, hey, man, big fan. Just want to give you my card. I'm a young brother. Just got in town trying to make some moves. So I took it, and I started walking away. Drew was like, well, what the fuck do you do? And the guy stopped. He's like, I'm marketing, organizational planning. We're like, what? I thought he was a comic. I'm like, what? You ain't even.
How are you going to help him?
You're not even in the same business.
No, I can't help you. I can't help you.
Maybe even let you go to the market for you.
Exactly. I can't help you.
The great David Allen Greer.
David.
Well, it's over. It was great. I've been a fan of Howard's for like years. I've wanted to do this show. It was just a wonderful experience, man.
You guys seem like you're really hitting it off in there. It was very comfortable, and you're just telling stories. And
Yeah. I mean, like I said, Morty and I Pete Aronson, all of the producers on Howard Stern, the first thing we talk about in the morning is, did you listen to Howard? Unfortunately, the Sirius radio is in my wife's car, so I only listen to it when I'm in her car. Or I do listen to it late at night.
On the replay?
Yeah.
What is it about Howard Show that makes you feel comfortable and really, why is it so funny and so real?
Listen, there are two people where I felt that comfortable, David Letterman and Howard Stern. Maybe Adam Carolla is another one. It's their talent as interviewers, really, because we never met. I never met Howard, and it's his ability to put you at ease, to be honest for a minute. And so that's why I think he's so good. Also, he asks those questions that we all want the people to ask, and they never do.
Right. It's got to be a lot different from all the other press you've been doing for Chocolate News.
Exactly. All the other press was like, it's corny.
Scripted questions.
Yes, corny crap. And they tell you, I'm going to ask you about your toes. Is that cool? And you're like, yeah. I'm easy, though. I'm easy. I don't really need to any prep. Let's just do it.
Cool. And you also got to reconcile with Robin a little bit.
I did. I was just giving her a hard time. I was a little nervous when I went in there at first, but it's true. It was true. It was all true. It's all true.
Well, thanks for stopping by, man. Good luck for Chocolate.
John High and Gary Dell'Abate. The best of the wrap-up show begins now.
Hey, it's Ralph, and on Monday's wrap-up show, we're going to be talking about who knows Howard best, the big game we played, and it was really good, and I lost.
Let's start off with the big game today, which was between Howard's parents, Ralph Cirella, and Beth Stern, and the big winner was Robin Quivers. Gary, do you think Robin was going to win?
No. I did think Robin was going to win. I got to think about that again. I thought Howard's parents know a lot about the camp stuff, but there's a lot of his life that they don't know after he was 21. And the funny thing is that there's things that they got wrong that Robin got correct that you could have gotten from listening to the radio show. Like the first girl Howard ever slept with, he's told that story a gazillion times.
See, I didn't remember that.
Yeah, no, he's talked about it a lot.
No, you're right.
In fact, he even he jokes around. He invites her to movie screenings because he's still always out to impress her. So, like, if you listen to the show, you could have gotten that one.
You see, Ralph came in, he had notes, he prepared, talking a big game, and came up short when it counted.
Well, that's the story of my life.
But the thing I think is funny is that the person that least wanted to win, or at least needed to win, won. In other words, Howard's parents want to win because of Howard's parents. Beth wants to win because she's his wife. Ralph wants to win because he needs the money, and he's Howard's best friend. Robin didn't really give a shit, and she won.
Yeah, I wake up this morning, and Robin goes, when you said there was $5,000, she goes, oh, I don't need that. I was like, oh, you make me sick, and she won. Oh, couldn't be worse. That couldn't have gone worse.
Do you think Robin is a gracious winner?
Sure, why not? I mean,
You were sort of a sore loser. You admit that, right?
Oh, absolutely. I had that money spent. I'm telling you.
Teddy, did you really? Did you really?
Yes,
think
I had a buy order in for another $5,000 worth of apples.
But did you really think that were you pretty solidly sure you were going to win?
I thought I would. I thought Howard's parents would come in dead last, which they did, and I thought it would be a tie between me and Beth. I forgot Robin was playing. Honestly, I realized that yesterday when somebody told me, but. Listen, she spends 5 hours a day with him. So if you ask her who's his first girlfriend, she's going to know that. You know what I mean?
But you spend a lot of time listening to the show. And again, the answer was there to have. That particular one was there to have.
But she should, Robin should really
What did you get wrong? What did you personally get wrong?
I didn't know the Robin one.
Right.
And the water. I mean, I know that he drinks seltzer and cranberry, but that's not his favorite. He always drinks water.
But you know what they meant by a drink. Yeah. What's his favorite drink?
Yeah, but that could be alcohol too. That could be vodka with a splash.
What was the answer?
What was the seltzer and cranberry? I've seen him drink that, but if it's his favorite drink, how come he doesn't drink it here? Wouldn't you drink that here if it was your favorite drink? It's not his favorite drink.
Maybe that's not his favorite morning drink, but it's favorite rest of the day drink, which you spent time with him as well.
Ralph was a bit of a sore loser. Hit number 1, Teddy. Here's Robin winning and Ralph complaining.
What is the name of the African-American Howard once dated? What is the name of the African-American that Howard once dated? Don't talk out loud. Don't say out loud. Believe it or not, Howard once dated an African American. This comes as a shock to some people.
A lot of people canceling their subscription.
There you go. I don't care. Mom and Dad, what did you write down?
I don't know.
No answer. Honey?
Robin Givens.
Correct. Ralph?
The
Robin
very hot
Givens.
Robin Givens.
Correct.
Did I have to have a last name? Because I put just Robin, but I
That's
meant
fine.
Robin.
Yeah,
Givens.
you need a last name. No, it's a first name. She doesn't know her last
Of course
name.
I know Robin Givens.
Could have been
Everybody
you.
calls
No,
me Givens.
she doesn't get it. She doesn't get it.
She doesn't get it?
No.
What? Look at the judge.
It doesn't get to make the rules.
What?
The contestant
Of
doesn't get
course
to
she
make
got
it.
it right.
Are you grasping at straws there, Ralph? Did you know you were beat?
Well, it could have been the Robin for the first answer. I mean, you know what I mean? She just writes down Robin. She'd be right 2 out of the 10 times.
You're like a rat in a cage. Being poked with a stick.
Megan Boston, you're on the wrap-up show.
No wonder people hate me. I'm
Yeah,
a
hi.
horrible loser.
I think I'm the only person who likes Ralph in the world, but I just wanted to call in that he's never on the, well, I never hear him live on the show, so I wanted to just tell you that I really like you, and I don't understand why people don't like you. And I also wanted to have another question, but
People
I just...
love people love me,
Meg,
really.
how much time have you spent alone with Ralph?
I had no. Is it really different? Like
No, he's
one-on-one time versus I think he's
it's
so
even better.
interesting.
It's even better just hanging out with me.
And I like how opinionated he is. Like he brings something to the table, you know.
The best Ralph to hang out with is the one that's not on the radio.
Well,
Great, like Ralph not on the radio is fun, funny, and a nice guy. It's a guy on the radio that's brutal.
Oh, see, I love the
that
guy
Ralph
on the radio.
horrible?
I think he's the best. He's so honest.
What's your other question,
He's so
Meg?
funny.
No, let her
well,
go
I wanted
on.
to find
Why
out
are you moving
about.
her along?
We're short on time. Go ahead, Meg.
Okay, so I wanted to find out how you guys how you and Howard became best buddies. What's your meeting story?
Well, first of all, I want to know because this is a story that you and I have had a disagreement on. How did you come to the show?
I was doing special effects makeup work, and you guys were starting to do live shows, and I had been listening for a while, and I went to one of the shows at Club Benet, and I brought some pictures of my work, like different makeups and stuff that I had been doing, and I gave it to an intern, and then you called me.
Right, I guess
said,
Howard
liked your stuff, come in, he wants to talk to you about something. We came in and talked about a couple things.
I remember. You know what I remember about that? I remember Ralph came in, and Ralph was sort of young and sort of in awe of Howard, and Howard, had no time for Ralph, and Ralph was trying to measure like crazy because he was doing a prosthetic for Howard for a New Year's Eve show where he was going to be like Rocky. It was going to have a big full chest, and then there was a giant penis to be made. And Howard's I remember Howard would say to me listen, I don't know this guy that well. Let's keep this meeting brief. And Ralph kept, Ralph was one of those guys who get the ruler out. And I realized now that Ralph needed a lot of time. But what were you doing? What were you doing for a living at the time?
I was working on movies, and I was working for my friend's parents at an automotive place and at the parking lot too.
Right.
Like you actually called me at the parking lot.
Right, see, I told that
you
story
called me at Epstein's. I was working at Epstein's in Morristown.
So you got so mad at me because I told that story in the air once, and you go, "That's not what I was doing." Ralph had once told me
I had 3 jobs. I'm a very hard worker, but it was funny because right away you were confrontational with me. You go, Howard gets a lot of stuff, and you're very lucky that he's calling you. You right away you were mad at me.
See, it's really funny. I don't remember saying that, but I know you see it as confrontational. Of course, I didn't know you.
Yeah.
So, and I'm not generally confrontational.
No,
I might have said, this is really a good thing.
Yeah.
Because Howard gets a lot of stuff and he doesn't answer.
But
so
you were
you
don't know how lucky you are. But
I think that's how you heard it.
Yeah.
Now, Ralph, so you worked with Howard in the beginning. When did your friendship change? You know what I mean? A lot of us work with him, but you've clearly become very close with him.
You did all that time with us on the Channel 9 show, and you guys were you just worked with us, but you weren't friends then, right?
Yeah, and I guess it was just because I started doing wardrobe with him, and I would go to his house. And
so when did that start? What year?
It started around Channel 9 sometime.
Right. So you guys
I started shopping for him a little bit, then going through his closet and seeing what looked good, that kind of thing.
But when did you guys realize? When did you realize that that you guys had more in common than just you showing up for an hour a day?
Right away. Right away, I thought we were friends. You know what I mean? In my, you know what I mean? He's somebody I could relate to. Right. I sound stalkerish, but I listened to him on the radio. I thought he was funny, and
But do you realize how many guys think they're you, and they're not?
Yeah, they're not. No, see, that's why I'm smart.
But it is funny because they did hit it off right away. Like right off the bat, Howard liked him, talking about stuff. And when I introduced Ralph to speak at the wedding, and I said, Ralph's been telling everybody for years that he's Howard's best friend, and much to his chagrin, it's true. Here's Ralph to give a speech.
I was nervous about how Gary gives me the worst intro ever. I'm like, I was thinking about that over the weekend.
I actually thought,
F you, Gary.
I actually thought it was the opposite. I thought it was validation. I thought it was validation that you are, in fact, his best friend.
Hey, it's Al, and on Tuesday's wrap-up show, Richard and I pranked Steve Langford. It came out great. Enjoy it. Check it out.
Sal and Richard now joining us here in the wrap-up show. Got a lot of props today, boys. Congratulations.
Yeah, we got to thank the news team who tipped us off. That's how it all started.
From High Pitch Mike?
Well, we don't want to say specifically, but there were a lot of guys who want to remain on.
There's 4 people back there.
It definitely wasn't Lisa G.
And one of them's Langford. So
it's Shuley or Mike.
Or both.
And everybody, Tim Sabian was involved to a certain degree. Jim McClure helped us out tremendously. We had about 4 or 5 different scouts going back and forth working on this for us. So
now, are you worried? Because Steve does have a little bit of a vindictive streak. Are you worried that there is a retribution?
I'm worried about like maybe some crusty cushion at the back of a strip club might come up now. Some semen samples.
What?
In Buffalo. Maybe one of those tip-off calls might do me in.
Hey,
but,
a couple.
No, I'm just joking. There's nothing that.
And everything bad.
What am I talking about? I don't.
Everything bad.
Let him talk.
Oh, sorry.
I have no worries. No worries.
You're not worried. Kidding aside, you're not worried that Langford's going to try and come back at you?
It's funny because me and Richard had talked to them about how we were worried about this, right?
Well, yeah. The most we were worried about is we didn't want to piss him off because he's been real cool to us. He's a big fan of our calls, but then we were thinking, well, if he's a fan of our calls, he should appreciate this.
Let me tell you how nutty these two are. Like 2 months ago, they called me into the office. They lock the door, right? Like they got uranium in there.
Yeah, we did.
And they go, we're working on the secret project. They're so all about it. I forgot about it, right? They called me back yesterday. This phone call we were working on for 2 years. Again, they locked the door. And I'm like, you know what, guys? I can't really concentrate on it. It's 3.5 minutes. Give it to me on a CD. Richard writes on it, super secret call. Like, they weren't even putting Steve Langford prank on it. Like, this is the biggest secret in the world. Then they send me a note.
They're not messing around.
No.
They're being very serious.
Then they sent me a note this morning. Did you like the call? Our suggestion is you play it for Steve when he comes in for the news so we could look at his face. I'm like, guys, give me the fucking call.
Yeah.
But it was funny. It's a great call.
Thank
you.
But you guys were like, it was like you were holding gold.
Yeah.
Well,
so you recorded Sour Shoes for 2 hours nonstop?
Yeah, we would go to lunch and we'd just say, okay, Sour Shoes.
And we let the tape go.
Do an hour of songs about Steve Langford. And then we'd come back and hang up on Sour Shoes and cut up his songs.
The problem with Sour Shoes, it's almost like his OCD. As we're trying to execute a prank with him, he's kind of fucking with us.
Right.
So we can't get anything done. So I say to Richard, let the tape run. And that's all we did. And we got 2 hours worth of his songs and chopped it up.
Yeah, because at first we tried working with him. We would 3-way Sour Shoes and Langford, and it just didn't work. So we're like, best way to work with Sour Shoes is to have him as a recording.
I don't know about you, but I swear to God, one of those Tuesdays where we have an open hour, I would kill to just hear the hour. Like, I would love to hear from 7 to 8 o'clock at night the hour that you guys went to lunch and what Sour Shoes did for an hour.
We can give you the uncut version of it.
Is it just him going on and on?
And on.
Once in a while, you hear him, like, fidget with something in his bedroom, or his mom will yell in the background or something.
Sometimes he'll call me all day, and it gets to the point, instead of me hanging up, I just put him on hold. And then, like, an hour and a half later, after doing my work, I'll go to the phone and forget. I pick it up, and there he is in the middle of the song.
If you guys get a chance tomorrow, can you pull some of the outtakes of his mother yelling at him? I would kill to hear that.
Sure. And it's funny, too. I don't know if Steve has this on his phone, but me and Sal had new office phones put in because of Sour Shoes, where you can send calls right to the voicemail. Like, there's a button where the phone won't ring, because Sour Shoes got to us, too. So we just got these new office phones where he can't get a hold of us.
And another thing that made the call so great wasn't just Langford's reaction, which was hysterical, but the songs he picked.
Right.
And when he came in on them were fantastic.
No, good for Langford that this is finally done, because
he's been going through hell, and I'm glad it's done. And our listeners, our millions of listeners, won't call Sirius and get Steve's office number and just start doing this. They're cool. They wouldn't do that.
Benji, go ahead, Joel.
No, I was just going to say on my end,
212.
when we started talking about when they told me about the prank, on my end, I had my news recorder set up to get audio of Steve freaking out after he hung up with Sour Shoes. And the one day where he went apeshit and smashed the phone down, I stopped recording Steve. I was like, he may throw that shit at my head. Like, I don't know. He's so passionate about his job, and the fact that Sour Shoes was stopping him from doing his work, it was killing him. He would walk to Brad's office, our news director, once, twice a day to go complain about Sour Shoes.
You know, I have the audio of him throwing his phone. It sounds kind of funny. I didn't put it in the call because you can't really tell what it is unless you set it up saying, this is when Steve throws his phone, but it sounds pretty funny.
There was a point where Steve Langford came into our studio, and me and Richard, we'd have everything set up where I'd have a sound bite up of a prank call in the works, Richard would have a song up, and when Steve walked in, we would hit that and put on our headphones and pretend we were working. That's how paranoid we were about
and
it.
he got a little suspicious one time and came in like a month or two ago, and we, just played it off. I pretended I was in the middle of recording a Robin song and stuff. But
I just said that.
Yeah, well, no. But he went to Brad and said that he checked on us and it wasn't us. So Steve, thought that he had investigated us and proved that it wasn't us.
I would love to know what the investigation was that cleared you.
Now, how long were you working on this thing?
About 2 months. Howard heard it before the wedding. And he came into the studio, goes, "What are you working on, boys?" And we played a little piece of it, and he loved it. And then when I think prior to the vacation, he said, "Is that bit ready?" And I said on the air, it wasn't. And that was the bit that that he was referring to.
This is our Ben-Hur.
On Wednesday's wrap-up show, a whole bunch of my wedding shit got brought up again. Sal started screaming at me about not being mad at Artie, who said that he'd only go if Howard goes. Sal obviously doesn't know what a joke is. But anyway, it just turned into a whole bunch of yelling between me, Richard, Sal, and Gary about my wedding. I can't wait for this bullshit to be over.
Jason Kaplan now joining us on the wrap-up show. Apparently, you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Jason smashing his face
with
the
microphone. They must have oiled these things.
Apparently, your wedding is now a huge controversial matter. Let's go through this very quickly.
Okay.
Howard says that Robin announces that she's going to have a +1 at your wedding.
Right.
Howard reveals he will now be attending your wedding, although you weren't sure if he was going or not. And Artie then says, "Well, I'm going to attend too." Give us the inside scoop?
Well, I'll start backwards. I talked to Artie. He said that he was just fucking around on the air. I mean, I talked to him a couple days ago about the wedding. Artie did this to Will too. He's very non-committal. I'm going to try and come. I like to be there. So that's what he said yesterday, and that's what he still said to me today.
Do you believe that he was just fucking around on the air?
Yeah, I believe it. Artie's not like that.
But why is he being non-committal about your wedding? I know he didn't want to go. Will's was very close to when he tried to start a sobriety, and it was a hike away.
It's a different thing. He's like, I got a gig in Toronto the night before. I'm going to try and make it. He asked me about every other day when my wedding is. I told him like a million times.
So let me ask you a question.
Well, apparently,
I think he's keeping his options open.
Are you offended on any level that if it were Howard's wedding and he had a gig in Toronto the night before, that it would be no issue that he'd be there?
A little, I don't know, maybe a little. I don't know. Again, I know. Richard and Sal and all these guys get mad at him, but I don't know. Artie gets as Artie told Richard and Sal when he apologized to them. He's better than them. He's on a different plane than them. He's smarter and funnier than them, so he gets to operate under his own rules. It's annoying when you're trying to put a wedding guest list together and somebody, it's easier when you have a yes or a no and you know for sure. So that is very annoying.
Artie also reminded Howard how long it takes to get to Jason's wedding today.
He was bullshitting with that. Listen, I'm not going to make any guarantees because who knows what fucking traffic will be like. But it's a 45-minute ride from the bridge. Now, I don't know how long it takes you to get over the bridge, But so add whatever it takes you to get over that. It's a 45 fucking minute ride.
I loved when. What's the main road you said takes you there?
80.
Route 80. It's
When you said
fucking out to San Francisco. It's a
when you
huge
said
road.
Route 80, the howling laughter that Artie had. He's like Route 80.
It's much better than the Southern State Parkway.
I think Route 80 was just voted like the worst.
No, it wasn't.
By truckers, it's considered the worst route in the country.
Well, good. Then there'll be no truckers on Route 80.
I'm sorry. Is Benji going to the wedding?
No, Benji let me know that he will not be able to attend.
And that's a definite no.
That's a definite 100%. Thank you for inviting me, but I can't make it.
Because you always say that, you just said that it's really hard when you can't get a definitive answer.
Right. No,
Benji
Benji gave me a definitive answer, and I appreciate it.
I would
him
have
giving me a
loved
definitive
to
answer.
have gone. And
do you want to go?
No,
do you want to
wouldn't
go now because Howard and Artie and Robin are all going to be there?
The big draw beyond the wedding, because I actually love weddings, was Anne Marie's going to be there. That's a girl that we used to all work with. So that's what I feel like. Oh, I'm going to miss out on.
I would rather you not come.
Now, Jason, but hold on. Why aren't you going, Benj?
I'm back on a night schedule, and I don't know what I'll
do. Okay, if at Jason's wedding there were vegetarian meals,
well,
at Barbara Walters,
what time does the wedding
at
start?
Barbara Walters,
Well, don't ask me this now after you already declined.
No, it doesn't start at 5 because they were saying at 7 tonight.
No, the ceremony is about like 5:15, 5:30, and so the party starts.
See,
at
I was going to ask if I could come around 7. But I was like, I don't want to give him.
You could have. I would have said yes. But since you already said no, I'm going to hold you to it. And honestly, just because, I don't know, I already counted you out. I need that seat.
All right.
And why aren't you crying over Benji not coming? That's a crazier reason than my.
Hold on. Who's better? Would you say that Jason's better friends with you or with Benji?
You talk to Benji a lot more. You've known Benji longer.
Okay, Richard. Here's the deal. I'm not going through all this stuff.
Well,
again.
I know, and I don't want to either. But it's
over
just.
It. I'm over you not coming. It's totally fine. Whatever. We're still friends. At least on my end we are. I don't know if you still harbor resentment towards me. And that's it. I'm over it. So
yeah, but it seems kind of like
Benji said he couldn't go.
I know, but it's ridiculous too that you're not like crying about Artie not coming. You're not crying about Benji.
Well, Richard, that should make you feel special about how much you meant to me.
I know, but and then when you say stuff a while ago like that me and Sal aren't important, then why would you want to have us at your wedding?
First of all, I was quoting Artie and trying to make a joke. Second of all, you guys are important, and I do want you there, and that's why I was upset when you said you weren't coming. And you should take it as an honor that when you said you weren't coming, it upset me more than anyone else so far who said they weren't coming.
It wasn't, and again, I don't want to bring it all up again, but I think, Richard, it wasn't that you weren't coming. It was the reason why you weren't coming.
Yeah, but
hold on.
The reason I'm not coming is just as good of a reason as why anybody else is not coming.
No, it's not.
It is.
It's just, you know what?
What? The fact that it's an hour away, that's a better reason for somebody not coming
no
than
one has
the
claimed
fact
that
I want to see a concert that is the most important concert of my life.
You know what? Shame on you when in another year some dumbass Halloween thing comes up and that's the most important moment of your life.
That will be the most important.
Will be.
Right.
I mean, that's a bad comparison.
Why is my excuse worse than anybody else's?
You know what? It's not. It's fine. You're not coming. Don't worry.
I don't want to go down
this
road again.
It's a stupid argument. Benji's not coming. He gave me a definitive answer, which I really appreciated because I know he flip-flopped with Will like as his date got closer. And so he gave me a definite no. I'm sad Benji won't be there. I definitely consider him a friend, but I'm not going to get in an argument with Benji. And Artie is Artie, and I know that sounds lame when you say that, but look how Artie rolled into Howard's wedding. I mean, he looked like a mess. He obviously didn't care.
So that should be more the reason why you shouldn't want him there.
But that's just the way Artie is. He's like that with everybody. That's his MO. And again, I would really appreciate to get a definitive answer from Artie. But I don't think I'm going to be able to get it.
What do you mean Artie didn't care?
I mean, Artie didn't go to Will's wedding
No, when you said he came to
he
Howard's,
obviously did not care. I mean, did not think the wedding was important enough to actually dress up nice and present himself in a presentable way.
So you think he treated it as
he treats everything else, something he rolled out of bed to come to.
Yeah, but Jason, let me ask you this: when Howard first revealed that he's going to your wedding, and the first breath out of Artie's mouth, without thinking, shit, now I got to go too. Hold on, let me finish. No, it wasn't. Don't you kind of take that as an insult that he is going strictly to hang out with Howard, and he has no intentions to celebrate your day? First of all, that's how I would take it if it was my wedding, and you made no stink about it. Yet this guy wants to go to a concert, and you spent a half hour crying about it.
First of all, I talked to Artie after this thing. He still said he doesn't know if he's going to come. So whatever he said on the air, it still hasn't changed his answer from yesterday or the day before. If Artie is only going to come because Howard's going to be there, then that's Artie's prerogative, and I'm not going to worry about it.
Yeah, but also Artie said and I believe him. He says he doesn't want to be the asshole that doesn't go. It wasn't to be with Howard. It was to not be the one.
So why should Howard make the difference, whether he's there or not?
Because now Artie is the big guy that's not going.
Sal, why are you so upset?
Because he ripped the living shit out of Richard for an hour over nothing.
I said I was upset that he wasn't coming over a dumb excuse. What I thought
it's the best day in his life.
You know,
whatever. It's over. It's over.
I mean, it's disgusting that you're selling yourself out for a celebrity versus a friend. Yeah, you're giving Artie a free pass because he's the great Artie Lang, and I find that to be disgusting.
Can I ask a question? Where's a switch on you where I get you out of stockbroker mode?
No, I'm dead serious.
But why is
not?
Not?
He's not. No, Gary, are you kidding me? He's not breaking Artie's balls at all over this, and he broke Richard's balls for an hour over a concert.
Do you know what he just had a conversation with Artie. What Artie said on the air isn't really what he means.
But you believe that?
To some degree. But I know that Richard absolutely means what he said.
But Richard's honest. He said it right off the bat.
So being socially wrong and being honest is the better thing.
No,
in other words,
you guys don't.
My
it's
opinion.
not socially wrong as far as I'm
that's
concerned.
That's my opinion. Right. That's my opinion. Is that it's way wrong. It's a big social faux pas. But it's not your opinion. It's my opinion. But it's it doesn't make it right because he's telling you right up front what he's doing.
You're also you're leaving something out. Hold on a second.
Go ahead.
If Steve Brandano back in the office told me he wasn't coming to my wedding because he had some awesome concert to go to, that would hurt me way more than Artie or Howard not coming to my wedding. It all has to do with your relationship to the person.
How would
Artie
you
and I
feel?
are friendly, but I mean,
how would you feel? All right, how would you feel if I told you I'm not sure about going to the wedding, and then I found out Howard's going and now I'm going? Do you think my intentions would be to celebrate the most important day of your life, or to be there because Howard's there?
No,
how would you take
I wouldn't trust.
But I'm not the one who immediately muttered out of my mouth, "Shit, now I gotta go."
He's on the fucking air. He's making a joke. Jesus, get the fuck over.
Wait, Howard's definitely going.
Yeah, don't you know anything about comedy?
Can I get
apparently your coach?
Yeah, Howard. According to Howard, he's definitely going. I gave him I
Richard,
give
we
him
should
anything,
go, man.
but-
And
yeah, maybe I'll go now.
No, and there's a rule, and this isn't just apply for the people here. Anybody who RSVP'd no to my wedding cannot now change it because Howard's going.
What if Howard drops out and the last minute I want to go?
No, there are no more. If you said no, the only exception I made was for Howard, and that will be the only.
But no, you made the exception for Artie too. You said he could wait till last minute.
No, I didn't tell Artie. I ask him every day if he could give me an answer. What am I going to do? Hold a gun to his head?
Yeah. Well, no. If Brandano says to you, I don't have an answer yet, are you gonna let him wait till the last minute?
I would ask him every day, "What's your deal? I need to know," which is what I tell Artie. But whatever. Listen. For the 5 Jewish people out there, I'm treating Artie like Elijah. I'm leaving an empty chair and an open door, and if he shows up, great. And
Jason, in my opinion, and this is strictly my opinion, I think you're giving Artie a free pass because he is Artie.
I am,
and that's it. And that's
pretty much it.
And that's pretty sad.
Sal,
that's a very superficial thing to do.
Whatever you say,
taking
buddy.
your argument one step further, he's not giving Benji a hard time. He gave Richard a hard time, but he's not giving Benji a hard time.
You clearly refuse to see the reality of the issue.
Yeah. The other thing is that, and be really honest, if this were you and you weren't married and you were getting married and this whole thing went down this way, would you be offended that Howard was coming, or would you be grateful?
If Howard was coming, I would be grateful. If Artie was coming, I'd be grateful. But if I had a situation where I yelled at a guy for an hour who was honest with me, and then I had another guy mutter out of his mouth, "Oh, well, I guess I'm going to go too," where does that person's real intent lie? To celebrate his friend's wedding, or to be there because Howard Stern is there?
I think we're going around in circles. I think Jason is again. Jason is again saying that Artie was doing comedy for the air that you've taken as fact.
And I'll leave it.
That's where you guys disagree.
And that's fine, and I'll leave it at that. But I'm just saying, and Jason,
hold on, and one more
Jason
thing.
agrees to a certain extent that it's because who Artie Lang is.
All right,
and
leave it at
fine.
That. Then leave it at that.
And we'll leave it at that.
But
I find that disgusting on your part, Jason.
You didn't leave it.
Why
duly noted?
Leave it at that.
I'm leaving it disgusted.
Hey, this is John Hine, and on Thursday's wrap-up show, we got to talk about Maureen McCormick. You may not know that name. She's better known as Marsha Brady, and I was a big Brady Bunch fan growing up. All of us were. And she came in and gave an interview with Howard that I never thought I'd hear, talking about doing black guys, trading sex for coke. She actually said the word cunt. And that's not the Marsha I knew, but we got a kick out of it and talked about Marsha, and, well, here's what we said.
The big guest today, Marsha Brady, Maureen McCormick, and Gary and I were looking forward to this interview quite a bit.
We were. This is so in my, in my zone, my era. This is what I grew up with. In fact, I was surprised. I think she's 52 years old. I thought she was my age. I guess I'm more on a par with Jan than I am with Marsha. But I mean, I love that. You and I watched it as a. Did you watch it as a first run show?
No, I saw the end of it as the first run show, but then it lived in syndication in every market in the country forever.
Right. I watched it as a first run show. It was a Friday night show. I think it was on with the Partridge Family and a bunch of other shows. It was on ABC. I remember 10 o'clock was Love American Style, but it was a huge show for me when I was a kid.
I mean, that was one of the first shows that was heavily syndicated, and I remember coming home from school or whatever it was, like 4:30, 5:30, locally, watching every single one, and everybody else has watched it at one time or another. And one of the things about the show is that you saw those kids grow up. Like, Maureen started when she was 12, and then left when, I guess, a few years later. And
who can forget Bobby's performance of It's Time to Change? I know what you're saying, John.
Gary and I can really geek out over this. So Maureen McCormick comes in, and she did Celebrity Fat Camp or whatever it is. Fit Club, same thing. And we weren't sure sort of how she would look, but I thought she looked pretty good.
She looked pretty good. Listen, she could stand to trim a couple of pounds, but she's thinner than she's been. I said to John, a cute face trumps a lot of stuff. She does a very, very beautiful face and a great smile. She's got a pretty bubbly personality. Again, John's going to get into it. She talked about a lot of things today, and you're sitting there and listen, you can call her whatever you want, but Marsha Brady is talking about, doing black dudes and anal and all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, it's Marsha Brady. I mean, Barry Williams has the same problem. He's Greg Brady,
right,
and he's sort of embraced it, and I was curious to see how Marsha would take to that. Would she be annoyed by it or embrace that kind of life? And she seems to be all right with it.
Yeah, I wanted Howard to press her on it, and he did. I thought it was like one of my favorite moments on the show was when we had Ringo on the show, and Vinny Favale was just annoying the shit out of him. And he goes, Howard goes, let me ask you a question. Does it ever get tiring? He goes, is it ever too much? And Ringo had this long pause, and he goes, it is. It does it gets to be too much. And I thought Maureen would be like being called Marsha would be too much, but she's still digging it.
Yeah, she absolutely dug it. And another interesting thing, what she remembered and what she didn't remember. I know she did a lot of coke, and I know it's convenient sometimes to block out stuff and to really block out stuff. But
do you know anybody who doesn't remember the first person they slept with?
Maureen McCormick, apparently.
Exactly.
But I don't know if I doubt her story. I mean, she definitely had a wild life. But
Artie and I were saying, she was saying that her nickname was Hoover for coke. And I said maybe it was a nickname for another reason. He said, there's no good reason for a woman to have the nickname Hoover, one way or the other.
So true. But when you look at her face, you just see Marsha Brady in it.
A very sweet girl.
Very sweet.
Who's not a girl, a very sweet 52-year-old girl.
What'd you think of that little hug and kiss not to jump ahead, but that hug and kiss she gave Howard at the end?
She was digging him.
Absolutely.
Yeah, she was digging him.
And it made you wonder that if you had coke back then, you could have had Marsha Brady. Rick in Pittsburgh, you're on the wrap-up show.
Hey, guys.
Hey, Rick.
Wanted to comment on Maureen McCormick and to make a suggestion for Howard 100 News. Interview was great. Howard's the best interviewer, I think, and I think we can all agree on that. But I guess the phone calls, and maybe, Gary, you can give me some enlightenment on that. Is Howard making the choices to go to these guys knowing they're going to talk about things as gross as licking her asshole? I guess
it's hard to say because, he may or may not. Listen, Howard could look up on the board. Since I've done the wrap-up show, I've learned that people will call in and say that they're going to talk about one thing and then switch gears.
Right.
But he might have known what they were going to talk about. But the thing is that Maureen, again, without the visual, it's hard to tell. She was totally up for stuff today. She could handle anything. I think she's gotten to the point where she's like, you know what, Marsha Brady's ready to talk about everything.
And to get a little bit inside, when we have a screen here, we get maybe 6 to 10 words of what you're going to talk about. So if it says, Rick thinks the callers were rough on Maureen, and then you start talking about something else, I have no way of knowing that. With Howard, it's the same. But I think callers are less likely to shift gears on Howard than they would on our show.
Right. And I think there was that one guy called, got through 3 or 4 times he wanted to say the C word. So that was the guy I think was being particularly rough.
And, of course, which she obliged.
Which was really funny.
Yeah, good for her.
The whole office went, whoa.
Shane, you're on the wrap-up show.
Hi, how are you guys?
Good, Shane. What's on your mind?
Actually, I just wanted to comment on the Marsha Brady interview today.
Okay.
I thought it was great. It's always great when you guys get big stars on there that, you guys can be talking to them, whichever way you want. She sounded very comfortable. It really surprised me.
She was. She really was comfortable doing it. I think I think, again, you come to do a Howard Stern interview, especially on satellite radio, you know what to expect, and she was totally up for it.
Well, within the first few minutes of the interview, she was talking about coke and sex and liking black guys, and you could tell she was sort of up for talking about anything.
You know, I am thinking the phone calls were rough, because now going back to it, the one call I heard was the guy goes, ask her if she ever did coke off the head of a guy's penis.
Yeah, the callers were pretty rough. But I'm glad you liked it, Shane.
Well, the thing is, I mean, I'm only 29 years old. What can I say? I've watched a lot of Brady shows on the reruns. I mean, I'm pretty sure they're still rerunning now. I watched them when I was between 10 and 18 years old. And so I know exactly what she looked like. But I'm pretty interested because I want to go on howardstern.com, which I do every night, and do a recap, and just to see what she kind of looks like. Could you actually... can you give us specific details on exactly, did she look pretty good for being the age that she is?
She looked very good. You know, the thing with her that she's never going to be able to live down is that everybody's memory of her is from 12 to 18, and she's just not 18 years old anymore. She's 53. But I think she looks good. Again, I think she's got a really, really beautiful face. I said she probably could have stand to lose a couple of pounds, but she's already lost a bunch of weight. She looks better than she did when she went on Celebrity Fit Club. She's thinner.
I agree with that. And you can see that 18-year-old in her 52-year-old face.
But she's not 18 anymore, and that's the person I think everyone's expecting to see.
She sounds like she has a great personality to her. It's one of those likable personalities that you could just catch on to, you know?
Agreed. She had a great personality. Thank you for your call. I also like when she was talking about the other Bradys, and I knew she wasn't talking to Eve Plum, who played Jan, but I didn't know why.
Yeah, that's a weird thing.
Yeah, she implied, she told a joke about kissing Jan, and the next thing you know, she's not speaking to her ever again.
Well, she said she's told a joke, but then in blurbs about the new book coming out, it says that there were lesbian experiences between the two of them.
It does?
In blurbs. I don't know if someone misread
because
the book.
we read the book and nobody saw that.
Well, Will or Steve can get down here and talk about that.
You know, it's interesting. I go up to, a lot of times in the summer, I didn't this past summer, but I'll go up to Cape Cod in the summer. In the town of Chatham, there's a little art gallery, and Eve Plum does a showing of her art every year. And whenever I go in, I look at it, I go, it's Jan Brady's art.
She wearing glasses?
Yeah, she does. Well, I haven't seen her there, but they have pictures of her there. I guess she does. It's out there for the whole summer. She's got her glasses on.
And Gary and I were talking about the different things that Maureen would talk about. Here's a clip of the interview, if you missed it, her talking about how she's actually interested or was interested in black guys.
You went out with Michael Jackson. We know why he didn't put any moves on you.
Right.
It's pretty obvious.
Right.
No, nothing happened, huh?
Yeah.
With Michael, no.
Yeah.
No.
Not even a kiss?
Yeah, a kiss on the cheek.
Oh, boy.
Was she your only black man, or did you have sex with black guys?
I actually was really attracted to black men.
How many black guys?
Who knew Marsha Brady?
How many black?
Yeah.
Now there's an episode.
I was attracted to just I don't know. I was, really into lots of different types.
Wouldn't it have been great if they did the Brady Bunch reunion and it's like you banging black guys?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
For coke.
That's what I always
It would be.
By the way, I thought Robin was being not insulting, but Robin was really jabbing her. At one point when they asked Maureen who she was voting for president, she was like, well, I'm leaning towards the person I don't want to say. And Robin goes, yeah, I'm sure Marsha Brady's vote moves a lot of people.
It's John High and Gary Dell'Abate. The best of the wrap-up show begins now.
On Monday's wrap-up show, I talked about two of my favorite comedians in the whole world. No, I'm not talking about Sal and Richard. I'm talking about Cheech and Chong.
the comedy duo that reunited and were the featured guest on today's show, and I'd be referring to Cheech and Chong.
Boy, I got to tell you, I don't know if it's an age thing, but for me, having Cheech and Chong on is like what it must have been like for my parents to see Martin and Lewis. I mean, they are such the quintessential comedians of that kind for my age, not as a live act, but their records. And John and I were talking about how Richard had put up a bunch of sound bites of Cheech and Chong this morning, and we sort of laughed because I thought they were sort of the unfunnier ones of Cheech and Chong. And I think that Richard, who's such a huge fan of them, knows them more from the movies. And if you're older, you know them more from their records.
Right. There are definitely two types of Cheech and Chong fans. Gary and I were talking about like Sister Mary Elephant and the
Dave's Not Here
and the other radio clips. And Richard was put up movie stuff,
Right.
stuff from movies. But of course, Cheech and Chong is Richard's favorite comedy duo, or at least Richard was accused that it was his favorite for today.
Exactly. But, Richard, of course, wore a Cheech and Chong shirt, which was really funny. I was saying, I've been listening to Cheech and Chong, so I started getting into them so young that I got the album Big Bamboo, and I had no idea what the paper inside was for. It came with a giant rolling paper. I didn't even know what that was about.
If you don't know their earlier stuff, there's a thing called Cheech and Chong's Greatest Hit, HIT, and that's got a lot of their classic bits if you want to familiarize yourself with them.
The Yellow Album, Cheech and Chong, the Yellow Album, and Big Bamboo are maybe two of the funniest comedy records ever made.
Well, now joining us is Cheech and Chong's biggest fan, as evidenced by his iron-on T-shirt, Richard Christie. Richard, you've been accused of having too many favorites. Are you offended by that?
No. I mean, I like a lot of stuff. I'm sorry. I like a lot of things, and
but you have to your favorite really has to be narrowed down to like 11.
Okay, well, I mean, for me, the only other two guys, like comedy duo that could have came in that I really flipped out on would have been the McKenzie brothers. But I don't think they're going to get back together.
Richard hovers around my office when there's a guest that he really likes because he wants to go in, and I'd like to let him go in, but he's got to have something to say. So he went in to ask them if they were going to make another movie. That was a good question. Then he's hovering around my office, and he goes, should I go in and ask them if they feel ripped off by the McKenzie brothers? I was like, nobody cares, Richard. The McKenzie brothers.
John cares.
People in Canada don't give a shit.
I love the McKenzie brothers.
Oh, they're awesome. By the way, I do love the Cheech and Chong albums, too. I have all the albums. I have Big Bamboo with the rolling paper still in it, the huge rolling paper.
Do you think everything's cool between those two? There seems to be some kind of tension there.
I think that they sort of have it together more now. It's hard to tell. I mean, I don't know them, but they're not acting any different than when they were on our TV show in 1992. I mean, they're sort of like they've been around, they've seen a lot. What are you going to tell them? But they seem to get along. I mean, here's the interesting thing: they came in, the two of them, and Cheech's girlfriend, is that fiance, and nobody else. No PR people. So they clearly hang together. There was nobody a PR person or anything.
Did the fiance just stroll in?
That was, that's a weird thing. When you watch it on Howard TV, we got to talk about this a lot. People feel very comfortable with the show. In other words, if you were on the Letterman show, you would go out on the Letterman show and you wouldn't bring, your grandmother, your fiance, an aunt, a good friend. But people bring people into the studio. So she caught me off guard. They just walked her into the studio. And it's uncomfortable to say, I've done it to people before where you put the hand up and say you have to wait here, because then while somebody's coming in and Howard's introducing them, there's that uncomfortable thing like, you're leaving them at the wall, at the Berlin Wall. You can come across, but you can't.
Lucky for you, though, she had a great accent, so she ended up being good on the radio.
The only reason I didn't mind her coming in because I knew we were going to get to her sooner or later anyway.
And Benji, did you sense any tension there?
Between Cheech and Chong?
Yeah.
To me, it seemed hyped. I didn't feel it, but Gary says he feels it like...
No, I didn't say I felt any tension.
Oh, I thought you did.
No. I'm saying that there are two guys that have just been together a long time.
That's what I think. I think it's just like people here. They work together, and I think they're buddies, and they're work buddies.
All right, if you missed it, here's a little bit of Cheech and Chong talking to Howard.
You're telling me Tommy said to you, I'm not getting back together the Cheech and Chong thing unless my wife can open for us.
Well, not in so many words, but yeah.
But he
Tommy,
has to travel with his wife.
You were anxious to get back together with Cheech all these years. You would have blown it just for your wife like that?
Oh, yeah.
Why? Is that fair to Cheech, though?
I don't care. Into it.
I
don't care about Cheech. Come on. My wife never left me. She stayed with me.
There's definitely some bitterness there.
Does his wife do stand-up or sing? What does she do?
I don't know. I wasn't sure. Oh, no, I think Cheech said that she has some chops, but I wasn't sure if it was singing or
and she's
comedy.
in some of their movies. She's really funny. She's in Corsican Brothers. She's in a movie Chong did called Far Out Man, like after they broke, Cheech and Chong broke up. But she's funny in the movies, so I'm sure she's probably funny on stage.
But you'll agree that's a bizarre rider to have the wife do 20 or 30 minutes before any performance.
It's a totally bizarre writer to have, unless your name's Jackie Martling.
But if you're a fan, if you're a big fan of Cheech and Chong, I think you might get a kick out of that for a few minutes.
Mm-hmm. But inevitably she has to have talent, or people aren't going to put up for that. And nobody's ever emailed me and said, "Oh my God, whoever opens sucks." So she must be good at whatever it is she does.
By the way, did you guys notice too? Like Chong was breathing really heavy.
Yeah.
I was thinking that the pot smoking must be catching up.
Well, first of all, I was shocked to find out that I knew they were older. I was shocked to find out that he's 70.
Yeah, 70 years old.
I mean, well, yeah, he was in his mid or late 30s when they got really big, I think, because he had a big musical career before, too.
Yeah, I thought that was weird. The question that I asked him about that movie with Eric Roberts, he sort of brushed it off like it was no big deal. That was a movie that just came over the transom, he said. But everybody who's a fan, like Richard, I bounced it off of Richard first. We both saw that as a Cheech and Chong movie without Chong, with the guy stepping in for Chong. But I guess Chong didn't seem to care.
Yeah, and I thought it was not ironic, but surprising that it was the music that brought them back together, not the comedy. Now, how can some people are saying in the back, how can you be a big Cheech and Chong fan without ever getting stoned? Like, I know weed just isn't your thing.
Well, it was kind of a thing where in high school and junior high, me and my best friend Scott, we kind of modeled our lives after Cheech and Chong. That was our idols. We'd get together at his dad's house every weekend, watch Cheech and Chong movies and watch Strange Brew. We also idolized the McKenzie brothers. And we always said when we graduate high school, we're going to move to East L.A., we're going to get a house just like in Cheech and Chong's next movie and just live the lives of Cheech and Chong. We just admired them so much, and it wasn't even about pot. It was just they had so much fun and they were such cool guys.
But you admired them so much, and you're moving and all this other stuff. You're telling me you never tried to get high based on everything that they've done?
I did. In high school, I dabbled in grass a little bit and just...
What is this, Dragnet? I dabbled in grass?
And the only fun I ever had on it, because it just made me sleepy, and made me cough. But one time a friend of mine had a black light and his teeth were green, and I laughed for about an hour at that. But other than that, it didn't do much. Yeah, it looked like Gary, but it didn't do much for me.
Hey, it's Sal, and on Tuesday's wrap-up show, we discussed me finally going out to dinner with the great Howard Stern. And I promise you, I'm going to be on my best behavior. So check it out.
We should start off with the hot topic in the office, and that's this dinner that Howard proposed. And if you didn't hear it, I'll set it up. Beth apparently has got invited to a birthday party, but it's a girls' night out, which Howard took offense to, I guess. And so to retaliate, he decided to have a night out with the guys, but he didn't want it to be the typical crew that he goes out with. He said he wanted to reward some of the people who work here.
Right.
So he immediately asked Artie, and then they sort of picked and chose and went through almost everybody on the staff with a couple of exceptions.
Well, let me ask you a question. Originally, it didn't start out with rewarding people here. Originally, it started out with putting a crew together that would make Beth jealous.
Correct.
And that didn't work.
Correct.
Artie and Tim Sabian weren't cutting it.
Right.
So then it went to, okay, so let's reward some of the people here who don't usually get to go out.
Well, I think JD was always part of the mix,
right?
Regardless of whatever the makeup was. But he went through everybody with a couple notable exceptions. One is Scott, the engineer, who was very upset at not being included and said he's permanently on the do not invite list. But the other person who didn't get any consideration, Gary, was you.
Yes, I did notice that. Well, Howard brushed it off quickly, and he goes, Gary gets invited to a lot of stuff, which is true, which is fine. And if you were being true to what you were doing for this dinner, I'd feel fine. But Artie gets to go to everything. So in other words, Artie's immediately a slam dunk to go. And then Fred, who works in the studio, is going. And then all of a sudden Benji's going. And then I realize I'm the only person that works in the studio that's not going.
Was that an out of sight, out of mind kind of thing?
No, because my name came up a couple of times. Howard's like, Gary gets to go to enough stuff.
And do you think that's fair?
Well, it's fair if you were going to take out Richard and Sal and Will and Jason, then it's fair. But I'm not, listen, fair, I won't say fair or not fair because it's not that big a deal. And I'm also out of town on Thursday night anyway because I'm going to Vegas. But don't use the "I'm going to reward some people" card, then immediately invite Artie and Fred.
Right, but you still would have. I'm sure you.
It's always nice to be considered.
Right, you want the opportunity to say no.
Again, I don't mind it as much because I get invited to a lot of stuff, but I know that this is always a great bit for the show because it really shows you your standing in the organization. I know there's people that sit out there waiting for their name to come by, and it comes by, and depending on how much consideration they get, it's telling.
Now, Benji, you were in, you were out. Are you in the final crew?
I don't know. And it does, I said I don't care, I don't give a fuck. But I do, but I hate that I give a fuck.
But why? But it's human nature. Of course you care.
Because it's completely he has the velvet rope. It's just a popularity thing.
Right, so you want to be popular. What's wrong with that?
I don't like that aspect. I wish I could be above that and not give a fuck about that.
What are you, Gandhi?
I don't know.
I think everybody wants to be included to a certain extent.
Yeah, but you shouldn't. Beyond the fact of one, the popularity, two, it has like political influence at work. I'm not any more attracted to going out with Howard than I am like going out with like a night out with JD or anyone here. I'd like to get to know a lot of people better on like a one-on-one type thing. And I hate that I give a fuck about the popularity at the moment.
Okay, now a surprise choice was Sal, and Sal actually turned down an opportunity originally when Howard was talking about bringing Richard. Sal was like, "No, it's okay. Richard can go. I'm cool." But Sal, you did get invited.
Congratulations! It's going to send you on a spending spree at Bumble, whatever, where you get
Bumble where
you get your cosmetics.
Yeah, we'll get into that in a second. But were you surprised that you got the invite?
Yeah, I guess I was. Because he's made it perfectly clear every day that he does not want me at any private event with him.
Well, no. He didn't say he doesn't want you at any private
after
event.
the wedding, he said it. He said his birthday came up, and Robin said, "Would I be there?" He says, "No, Sal will not be at anything, any events in the future." And I know he jokes around about that, and that's fine.
I think you're better suited to an all-male outing.
Well,
I
don't know.
I think when there's couples involved and there's more of a classy event, I think there's more of a fear that you might do something weird.
Yeah. Well, is this going to be classy or?
Well. Yeah, it's going to be a nice restaurant.
All right.
So hey, can I ask you? I heard a story about you. I wonder if it's true. Is it true that you went to a nice restaurant with Jason and the guys, and you took a piece of ketchup and put it on your forehead and started imitating the Indian waiter?
Ketchup? I don't remember
or
that.
Mustard or something.
No, I think we were at Del Frisco, and I put the napkin. I made a turban around my head, but I had a few in me, and it was just a joke.
Right. So could something like that happen?
No, not around Howard.
Everything's just a joke.
No, I'm not gonna. I'm gonna. You know what I'll do? Maybe I'll get some ketchup and make a Hitler mustache and do Hail Hitler. In front of
there
Howard
like an
all
Indian
night.
waiter?
That's not what I will do.
What was there like an Indian in the vicinity that you were kind of?
No, I don't recall.
I remember. He was just being stupid.
Yeah, we were just having fun. I mean, it's just so funny how in a private environment it's so funny, but in front of these microphones, it's all of a sudden the worst possible thing, the most unethical, the most ridiculous, the most racist, the most awful thing in the world. Yet these same people, these great people that I love around me in that same environment, are laughing their balls off at that moment.
Who besides you do you know that does stuff like that?
My Uncle Don.
Okay. but I mean, in other words, like, Jason.
And he doesn't have to go to a radio show in the morning and explain why he used a certain word in a certain way. You know what I mean? He's got the free pass. He's got it made.
What's the free pass?
The free pass is you could do stuff without getting your balls broken by people who really do find it entertaining, but said, "Hey, you know what? This could be kind of fun by giving this guy a dig and breaking his balls."
Sal, you said
I know it's one ball breaking environment, but sometimes things go a little too far.
You said something very telling just before. You said, "No, I know what I'm going to do. I won't do that." What is? You have it planned out in your head how you're going to act at this thing already?
I'm going to act like a civil human being. I'm going to sit down.
But that's not you.
Yeah, it is.
No, I mean...
At Will's wedding, I was a civil human
But I mean,
being.
you want to have fun. I'm not saying you have to be uncivilized. Can you have fun and still control yourself from doing something wacky? Because, you don't want to go there and sit on your hands, right?
No.
I mean, it's a fun night. Like, it's you and...
Listen, Howard's definition of fun off the air versus fun on the air are two totally
what do you
different
mean?
things.
off the air, Howard likes to relax, so I'm gonna go with the flow of the table, like anything else. If a bunch of guys are there and it's a quiet, calm night where a good conversation is being engaged, that's what I'll go with. I'm not gonna go there and start slapping my balls in the ice water. I'm just gonna have a nice time, and I also know, that this is Howard's invitation. So let Howard decide. He's the host of the dinner. So I'll let him decide. How the flow should go. I'm going to shut my mouth and have a nice time with Howard. That's basically it.
How many guys have to put the dot in their head before you do?
4 or 5 if they want. If I went out to dinner one time with Howard when we first started working here, Richard and myself, we had a phenomenal dinner. We had a really, really great time, and and some great ideas came out of that dinner as well.
But that was early on. That was pre your antics. You know what I mean? In other words,
yes.
You were on sort of like on your best behavior.
Yeah. And look, this is a dinner. I mean, we're not going to Ringling Brothers. We're going to sit down, take out a knife and fork, put it in your mouth, talk a little bit, have a few laughs, and go home like gentlemen. That's the night.
Why did you suggest going out to get a couple dances afterwards?
Because we're men. There's nothing wrong with that.
I'm not saying there is. I just want to know what prompted you to, why suggest that?
Why not? Why not?
Well, I thought you were going to follow Howard's lead on the night. Howard's not going to do that.
Well, you never know. You a couple of drinks in you, all of a sudden you start thinking differently. The road to hell was paved with bad intentions, my friend, and bad intentions are created by alcohol.
I thought the road was paved with good intentions.
Oh, was it?
There's 2 roads.
Not Sal's.
Well, no, whatever the case. However it goes, we're paving a road to Rick's. That's all I know.
Hey, on Wednesday's wrap-up show, we talked about Robin's sex life, or lack thereof, and somebody posed a question, who would you rather bang, Lisa G or Robin? I picked Robin, personally, because she looks way more experienced than Lisa, and I have a feeling she could teach me some new things, but quite frankly, I don't think I am anywhere near man enough for her. I think she would laugh at me and kick me out of her bed. So, check it out.
We should start off with the news person of the show, Robin Quivers, and her many, apparently, or her current young love. And as you said, Garrett, it's sort of chipping away, and Robin is starting to give up more and more about what's going on with this guy.
It's a process. It is a process. It's like getting, a big piece of clay, and we're trying to develop it into the Michelangelo's David. But Howard's great at getting stuff. And Robin, listen, Robin's not stupid. She works on the show, and she realizes, as time goes on, she's sort of got to give it up. But as time goes on, the relationship becomes more interesting.
Now, she was in denial about some sex stuff, right, Jason? Like, what's the deal with that?
Well, Gary had brought up the point that she had said, multiple times on the air that she was looking to date a younger guy when she broke up with Mr. X. And, so we looked it up in the log, and there's certainly many occasions where she was talking about how she wanted, someone really young, someone inappropriately young. She'd flat out say, I want to bang someone inappropriately.
And Robin's
so now she's clinging to that.
She's playing this very wisely. She said, I said I want to date a young guy. I never said I wanted to bang a young guy.
What's the truth?
Well, but we just want to listen. Robin
is not looking to hold hands with a young dude. Okay, I mean, what's the point of hanging out with a 20-year-old dude? What, you want to get to know him? I don't think so.
Robin's, in the grand scheme of the young old thing, Robin's a relatively young woman. It's not like she's 80 and she's looking to have arm candy on her arm. She's fucking looking good, and she's still got needs. Whatever you want to call them.
All right, so those needs get fulfilled, let's say, or don't they get fulfilled? Like, does she keep coming back for more? Is that what's going on here?
Coming back for more why?
Well, being with whoever she is with now, or, I mean, she speculated on that a long time ago.
Robin clearly doesn't like to talk about her sex life.
Which is awesome.
Because, I mean, it took her like 7 months to admit that she slept with Jimmy Florentine, and I'm still not 100% sure if she admitted she slept with Jimmy Florentine.
I don't think she ever admitted that.
Yeah, so here's the deal. Robin is a beautiful, sexy woman. She is banging. I mean, she's not dating a guy and not banging, and I'll just leave it at that.
No, but I think that Robin probably is having relations with the guy, but she doesn't see it as banging. See, that's a difference.
What do you mean?
In other words, she's dating a gentleman that she's sleeping with, possibly making love with, but she's not banging a guy.
That was my terminology.
So you're just saying she doesn't call it banging, but
right.
I can believe she's not having intercourse with him yet.
This guy, yes. Possible, depending, because she said they've only been on 2 or 3 days.
Other guys know?
I'm saying that Robin is acting like she's a virgin. Not acting. She doesn't want to talk about her sex life. I believe that in the 2.5 years since she's been broken up with Mr. X, I'm sure she's had sex I hope she's had sex.
But
so
see,
she's just not talking about
See,
it.
that's what I like, the fact that Robin isn't willing to talk about her sex life. If Robin was one of those women, like if she came on and she wanted to give us every detail every time, it would get sort of boring quickly. I love that you got to pull it out of her, and I love that she doesn't want to just give it up.
I agree, but to a point, you know, like I mean, when she's dating Jim Florentine for 8 months and still won't admit she's having sex with him, it's just annoying. I mean, look.
I look at Robin more like a sister. You know what I mean? And
she's everybody's sister.
No, I really do. I look at Robin like a sister.
But
such an asshole.
She's a sister, of course. That's a bad example.
Quiet. I look at Robin more like a sister, and while I do understand that my sister is grown and does have sex, I don't want to know every dirty detail, and I don't want to think my sister's a whore. So I love the way Robin handles it on the air.
I don't look at Robin as a sister, so I'd like to hear all the sexy details.
Are you into Robin?
Am I into Robin?
Yeah.
She's very attractive, and she's very sexual. You know, Howard was talking on the other day that there's some chicks that even though they're pretty, they're not sexual. Robin is sexual. Like, Robin definitely has a sexual vibe from her. So when I look at her, I don't think of her as non-sexual like a sister. I look at her as a sexual person. Absolutely.
Have you ever fantasized about her?
No. That's the truth.
Never?
I tell you. No, never have.
Just don't say anything, Sal.
I've never fantasized
Jace, that's
about
hard
her.
to believe you're sexually attracted to her then.
Look, I'm not. No. I think you're missing my point. I'm not saying that I'm sitting here jonesing over Robin. What I'm saying is that she is a sexual person. I don't look at her like my sister. Doesn't mean I'm going home and jerking off to her either. I just think that she, especially now with her weight loss and her new outfits and everything, she's been looking very good. She's clearly a sexual being, and so Gary says he looks at her like a sister. When I don't have a sister, but I'm assuming you don't look at your sister in a sexual way at all.
Well, how do you look at your brother? You look at his brother
very
sexual?
sexual.
Okay.
I'm very into my.
You
brothers.
got to say, when I started working with this whole gang, I mean, I was a little kid who lived at home with my mommy and daddy, and so that's how long I've known Robin. I'm not saying that I can't think about Robin that way. I just don't.
Right. I mean, and I like you a lot, Lisa G, but I don't look at Lisa as a sexual person.
Have you ever fantasized about Lisa?
No, I don't think so. No, the answer is no.
You mean, Gary, Robin has never grazed your mind
Never.
when you've been tossing one off?
No, I could really be honest. She
Even
never has.
accidentally, it doesn't pop in. You decide not to do it.
No. I mean, it really just, it's a weird thing. I would tell you in a minute. Listen, I got in trouble once. I admitted to jerking off to an intern. I'll tell you any of that. But it just hasn't happened.
I don't think you like black women.
That is so not true.
I've never heard you discuss them. I don't think
that
you're
is
attracted to them.
I totally am.
Are
I mean,
you?
Listen, I don't have like like some people we know, like a
fetish,
like where some guys are only. But there's many black women that I find very attractive.
Have you ever slept with a black woman?
No, I haven't, but it wasn't for lack of trying.
Benji, have you?
I think black women aren't interested in me.
Have you fantasized about Robin?
I know I've had a sexual dream about her. I wrote it up once, like a real intricate sexual dream.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's popped in my head before.
What about Lisa G?
Definitely have a couple weeks ago actually.
Really?
Yeah, I just but anyone that's at all attractive, I mean, at some point they go through my head.
How about you, Sal?
What? Robin, absolutely. I would love to have crazy, wild, filthy, stretch-out sex with Robin.
Now, was this... wait. Before you get to Lisa, was this with Robin before you worked here, like when you were a listener, or once you met? Like, how did that work?
I would say both, And Lisa G, definitely. I would love to, just have crazy, wild on... filthy, smelly sex with Lisa G.
Well, Jason says that Lisa really isn't sexual at all. Is that what appeals to you? That you can kind of
you're going to turn her into a whore.
Exactly.
No,
that would be my fantasy. But let me ask you guys this, Gary, Robin or Lisa G. If you had to choose one to bang, who would it be?
Probably Lisa G.
And you, Benji?
If you're talking about for the show notoriety wise, Robin, but purely I'm hungry for it, Lisa G.
Jason,
this is an interesting question because I think if I'm with Lisa G, I'm in charge, and if I'm with Robin, she's in charge, and
doesn't have to be that way.
I don't think I'd have a choice with Robin at least, but I don't know if I'm man enough for Robin, so I'd go. Nah, you know what? Fuck it, I'll go Robin, dude. How about you? You know what? I don't want to have to. I've never been with an older, experienced woman, and Not that Robin's older, but I have a feeling she's more experienced than Lisa.
Would you rather take care of Robin's cats or Lisa G?
But how about you,
Robin.
John? How about you?
What?
If you had to bang one, Lisa G or Robin?
Robin.
Really?
No doubt about it.
Wow. John doesn't like G.
And Teddy?
Both at the same time.
No.
See, for me, it's the reason why I picked Lisa is, again, Robin's like the sisterly thing, but I knew Lisa back in the day when not only did I want to, I may have even tried to fuck her.
Is there any chance you did?
No, I know I didn't. I remember I used to see her around at a lot of parties. This is like 20 years ago. We would just run into each other a lot. But she always gave up the good girl vibe, and I didn't have that kind of time.
I would love to crisscross her ankles over her neck
right.
with her ass back in the air, so she looks like a turtle bouncing up and down on the mattress.
On Thursday's wrap-up show, we talked about Richard earlier in the day was walking around with diapers, and on the wrap-up show, we found out why he's walking around with diapers and what he's going to do with them at the Coheed and Cambria concert. That's what we're going to find out. Is that what you want?
I can't miss.
Has it been brought up what Richard was walking around the hall with, and was that serious?
What do you mean?
I don't know what you're talking about.
In preparation for the concert?
Oh yeah.
I don't think it was brought up on the air.
Because I didn't know if it was a joke or serious. Richard was walking around with diapers today.
No, it's serious.
No, it's not.
Can you please?
Well, I mean, you guys
well,
laugh.
hold on. First, let's set this up right. Benji, what did you see or hear?
I saw Richard in the hall with diapers, and I didn't know if he was joking around or he told me it was to get ready for the concert.
Was he wearing them or
no? He had. I guess I don't know. He just had about 3 or 4 diapers.
All right, here's the deal. So, Howard TV has a big thing of diapers. That they have around here, I guess, for bits and pranks.
You don't need to explain.
Okay, but I asked Joe Jordan if I could have like 3 of the diapers. Because I'm going to 3 more Coheed shows, and they're my favorite albums. The last 3 albums by them are my favorite albums by the band, and I'm gonna wear the diapers to the show because I don't want to miss anything.
And you guys did give him a lot of crap about doing it in his pants last time.
Yeah,
so and
it's totally not a bit. I literally am going to be drinking beer, and I don't want to leave to go to the bathroom. It's not a bit.
Can I suggest something slightly more hygienic? And I'm not kidding around. They make a thing, you see it advertised in sports magazines all the time. It's for guys who go to football games. It's basically like a condom that goes over your dick with a tube, and it goes into a bag that you tie around the bottom of your leg. And that way you're not soiling yourself.
Yeah, but the second somebody moshes into my bag and it explodes, I'm in trouble.
Would you shit in a diaper?
I would not shit in a diaper.
Why?
Did you wear it?
That would be hard. I mean, I can try it on the air sometime if
Were
you
you
guys
wearing
want,
Were you wearing a diaper when we went to see Rush?
No, because there's a few Rush songs that I could take or leave, and that gave me a chance to go to the restroom.
You should just wear one like all the time.
Right.
Think about how much more productive you'd be.
That's true. That's true. And it's funny. Howard said something on the air the other day about sometimes he's so busy that he doesn't have time to go take a piss.
Yet somehow he finds the time.
But I'm the same way. I'll hold a piss until I literally cannot hold it anymore, and then have to leave my office.
Do you know what percentage of the concert goers at a Coheed and Cambria concert would probably wear diapers?
I think I'm the only one. 0.0001.
Would you urinate more than once in the same diaper at that concert?
Probably, yeah. I even looked on the thing, and they're extra absorbent. So.
But Gary, you guys had a contest once where you guys peed in diapers. You peed once in it, and
it expands. It gets like a
super
rock.
heavy.
Yeah,
right?
it gets super heavy. Listen, even if anybody who's having kids, you can pick up your kid who's wearing a diaper. If they peed in it, you could just tell it's heavy and gross.
You play cargo pants or something like to adjust.
And you should get
I got tight diesel jeans on, so I
you
don't
should
know
also
how
get
it's gonna work.
what's that stuff called, John? Balmex. You should get Balmex so you don't get a rash. Between your
bag
legs.
bomb.
I always wanted to take. We talked about it as a bit. I always want to take you to like a McDonald's and change you on a changing table.
I would do that.
But now, are you going to do the other thing? Like number, I don't know which the numbers are. Number 2.
Oh no, they just
you don't know the
asked
difference.
that, yeah.
You don't know the difference between number 1 and number 2.
I always forget.
One's in the front, and 2's in the back.
You're like that caller. He just asked that before.
Oh really?
But number 1 you can get away with without people noticing. I think if I was
a grown man
grunting and had a grimace on my face, people would know I'm shitting in my
But during
pants.
a big part of the concert, you could just when everyone's like, yeah!
Honey, the retarded redhead, it looks even more retarded.
Hey Stern fans, welcome to Fine Time, the show where you, the fans, get the opportunity to ask questions and interact with your favorite Stern Show staffers, whack packers, and celebrity superfans. I'm your host, Rachel Fine. Now, my guest today is the longest tenured staff member of the entire Howard Stern Show, aside from Howard himself. He is also an accomplished musician. He's responsible for all of the sound drops that we hear on the show. And he's the one guy no one wants to get in a confrontation with or challenge in a test of knowledge and memory. He's responsible for a lot of memorable moments on the show, one being a bachelor party that nearly killed him, a name change that he didn't tell anyone about for years, refusal to recognize Carol Alt as a supermodel.
Stand by it.
I will get to this in 1 second. A dial-a-date in which he met his lovely wife, and of course, one of the most hysterical Gary impressions of all time. If you have ever thought about buying your mom a cookie puss on Mother's Day, then you really should thank the motorcycle-riding, mysterious man from Mars, Mr. Fred Norris. Hello, Fred.
Nice to see you. Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. We had just an overwhelming number of questions for you. People have a lot to ask, so I'm going to jump right in with a first question here.
Please do.
From LED. She wants to know, what the heck is the deal with the name change?
Could you be more specific?
I can tell you that we got really more questions about their name change than probably anything else for you.
So this is actually a moment where I can maybe explain myself a little bit better than what I would normally explain. It's not going to be any clearer to you once I give you this explanation. We should probably just fast forward through this whole thing right now. Here's the deal. I was born with a name that I absolutely hated. But, it was just a name, so everybody gets stuck with that. But as I got older and more cantankerous or whatever, I'm going like, why am I stuck with this name? I could change that, Number one, my surname at the time, which was Nukas, belonged to my biological father, who decided to cut on us when I was 5 years old, and basically left us destitute. At the time, we probably could have been on welfare, but my mom was too proud to get on that. See, she was cleaning people's houses for a living, whatever. And I was a latchkey kid. I'm giving you much more information than you absolutely need. Needless to say, I didn't have a whole lot of love for my father. My mom got remarried later on, and his name was Norris. And he was great to me and great to my brother and really raised us correctly. The middle name, which was Leo, which I guess is hip now because of Leonardo DiCaprio, I didn't like that name either because it had no hipness back then. And it was also the name that was given to me by my godmother, who was the woman who ran off with my biological father. Do we get the picture now? Okay. And Fred, of course, I just think it's a clunky name. And I just asked my mom one day, I said, Mom, why did you name me Fred? Well, you were named after your grandfather, whose name was Fritz. Well, I guess that's, I dodged a bullet with that, but Fred's not much better than Fritz. And I says, well, were there any other names on the table? And she said, yes, Eric. And I go, well, why didn't you name me Eric? And she said, because that was the name of an old boyfriend, and your father was jealous, which I found very ironic. So, there you go. I think I've explained the first name, which should have been my first name, which was Eric. The middle name, which I kept basically because, well, whatever. Not everybody's going to buy into the whole Eric thing. And the last name, Norris, which is a tribute to my late stepfather. So I don't know if that answers your question. It probably creates more questions than answers, but there you go, LD.
One follow-up on that is, why, if you go through the trouble of changing it, why then continue to go by Fred?
Because that's how everybody knows me.
Okay.
It's like all of a sudden, like one day, Robin tried to go on the air. I wish to be known as Robin Ophelia Quivers. No one bought into that.
Okay.
So I just know that you just can't do things like that and expect that there's going to be backlash.
So you enjoy Eric in your private life?
Yeah, but nobody calls me Eric. There you go. I don't know. It was foolish.
Fair enough. Next question's from Ryan R. Ryan asks, I'd like to know how you managed to keep your family off the air in private. Did you have a talk with Howard?
No, I did not have a talk with Howard. It just organically is one of those things that I don't really bring up unless, of course, it's just, average, regular conversations. I mean, look, Howard has kids. He didn't always trot them out for the world to see. Gary has kids. He may mention them from time to time, but it's one of those things that I think Howard understands. That family is special and family should be kept separate. It's kind of like the mob. It's like you keep your family out of it. Nobody gets attacked when it comes to your family and stuff like that. As for me, I'm fair game.
Question from Adam J. Adam asks, will we ever hear or see King Norris live on the show?
I don't believe you'll see King Norris live on this show. We have done some things where we play out. There was a thing on Fuse TV. You can go on YouTube and look for this. If you really want to see King Norris play, that's where you can see an appearance. It was a memorable night. I think we did it live, and I think you your pants as you're doing it, but it was a lot of fun, I gotta tell you. And who knows, maybe you'll see me doing music somewhere. I just don't know where yet. Maybe in the subway, maybe on the web, I don't know. But I've got some songs kicking around that I kind of want to share with the world. It's not necessarily King Norris music, so we'll figure it out. I'll get it to you somehow, if you're interested.
We're all interested. Question from Marlon M. Marlon asks, as the only true musician on the show, what is the one musical guest performance in studio that has wowed you the most, and who disappointed you the most?
I can give you the disappointment first.
Okay.
Because it blew me away. I have been a fan of ZZ Top and Billy Gibbons since way, way back. I mean, I bought every piece of crap record when they weren't so good, and I bought the good ones, and I liked them all equally. I think Billy Gibbons has a guitar sound like no other. Jimi Hendrix agreed to me. He went on the Tonight Show and said he thought that Billy Gibbons was like, the world's greatest guitarist, and next to him or whatever, or just in general. So imagine my delight when one day Gary says, hey, guess who's coming on the show? Billy Gibbons. I'm like, that's great. He's like, that guy's got tone up the wazoo. He knows how to play. He's just so cool. I bought the Guayo. I mean, Tejas. If you have the album Tejas, listen to Tejas. I consider that a boogie band's version of Dark Side of the Moon. Just Asleep in the Desert. Anyways, I'm digressing here. Anyway, he comes on the show with this cigar box guitar and does these, for lack of a better expression, versions of ZZ Top songs. And I'm like, we get ZZ Top? And this is it? This is what I'm going to see? I know he's better than this. I know they're a great band. So why are we getting like the treatment? I don't know. I don't know if it was intentional. I know Billy is very artistic. I mean, apparently he's not the guy that you think he is with the whole beard. He's not like a mountain man. He's very sophisticated. I think he has an art museum like in Austin or Dallas or wherever they're from. So he's very sharp. He's very intelligent. So maybe that's what he was doing. Maybe he was trying to enlighten us, educate us. I just wanted ZZ Top songs, man. Play them.
Yeah.
As for the greatest, far too many. Oh, I got it. Stevie Wonder.
Really?
Stevie Wonder. Stevie Wonder, who is basically should be on the Mount Rushmore of pop musicians anywhere. He comes into the studio with his little keyboard. I think he was a fan of the show, which even blew me away more.
Yeah.
Because I grew up as a little kid listening to Stevie Wonder on the radio going like, man, this guy's blind. He writes all these amazing songs. He plays most of the instruments himself. He's just a terrific songwriter. There's nobody like him, ever, anywhere. He's like in his 60s, and he still has a great voice. He comes in on the show, and he goes, oh, you don't mind, but my throat's a little bad this morning, and he was apologizing. And he comes in, and he just sings song after song, just like you're listening to the record. And it just blew me away. I've never seen anything like that. He is music. You know, it's like if you look under music in the dictionary, it's Stevie Wonder, the most musical man on the planet, bar none.
Next question from Michael J. Michael asks, F, marry, kill. Beth, Mary Delabate, Elisa Jordana. Explain why.
I'm not touching that one.
Well, you have to.
No,
you can't flake out of an F, marry, kill.
That's a landmine.
Come
I'm not stepping on that. Nope. Not happening. Not in this lifetime. Not in any other lifetime.
How about
I enjoy them all. They're wonderful, wonderful people. I can tell you right now, I'm not killing anybody.
Okay.
It's like,
how about just the Mary?
I'm like a Buddhist. You know, actually, you know what? I'd like to be a Mormon and marry all three of them.
Listen, that's a solid answer. Brian S. asks, what started the Rainbow Room argument? Can you finally reveal what the argument was about?
I can't tell you what the argument was about. Because quite honestly, I probably had a couple of drinks in me.
Okay.
However, at the time, nobody realized this. My wife and I were separated. And we were trying to work things out. And Jackie and Nancy were celebrating, of all things, their anniversary. And they invited us. They thought it was a very special evening. And like, I'm like, oh, I don't know if we should go to this thing. And my wife was saying, look, they're friends. It's their night, et cetera, et cetera. We were feeling, and we didn't want to let anybody know on the show that we were having difficulties. Yeah. And we were. And to this day, I'm still not sure what those difficulties were. But we're back together and everything's hunky-dory. Anyway, it was probably not the best thing to do considering our emotional matrimonial state at the time. Okay. As Jackie and Nancy got up to dance, I think I was kind of pressing, why aren't things working out? Why, you know, like we're going to solve, you know, our marital problems, you know, with me being half drunk in the middle of a public place with people watching, et cetera, et cetera. And it went very bad very quickly. And the only thing that I could do at that point in time was just, you know what? I'm upsetting her. I'm ruining the evening. I got to walk. And that's what I did. So any other stories that you may have heard of that evening of me throwing things, not true. Me trying to hit somebody, not true. There was some allegations made that I can tell you right now. I may have been looped, but other than being clumsy and loud and stupid, that's as far as it went.
Good to know. Thank you for shedding light on that. Question from Tony N. Tony asks, where do you think you would be today if you and Howard never crossed paths?
Man, that's almost like one of those things like a Jimmy Stewart movie or something like that. You know, every time you hear a bell ring, you know, Sal drops his pants. I don't know where I'd be today, I'll be honest with you. It was a happy accident that it all went down. I mean, in a million years, I never thought that I'd be where I am today in New York. And unlike other people on this program who hate New York, not growing up here, I'm considered to be a rube, a hillbilly, someone who is very unsophisticated. However, I don't know, for some reason when I was a little kid, there was always a fantasy in the back of my mind, I'd love to go to New York. I'd love to see what it's all about. It was exciting to me. No one else in my family ever had that desire. They all wanted to stay right where they were. And there's no shame in that. But there was something to me about going to a place where everybody wanted to be, where you could do exciting things, where you could see symphonies. Yeah, I like symphonic music, okay? Call me a queer. I don't give a shit. I like symphonic music. And, you know, things of that nature. New York was where I wanted to be. And the fact that I'm able to live out a dream of being creative, being part of something that is monumental, it has certainly exceeded all my expectations in life. So to imagine being anywhere else, that would be depressing, I think.
Okay, stay here then. Question from Ann H. Ann asks, please take us through the process. Who asks, who were your heroes growing up that inspired you to get into radio?
I really didn't have any radio heroes because, quite honestly, there was nobody where I was growing up that was great. and I didn't have access to New York radio. We're a little too far away. I mean, you know, when you hear the stories about the Cousin Bruceys
Right.
and Marie the Kays and all that, I mean, what they were doing in Hartford, which was the main market where I grew up, it was all pale imitations of what they were doing in New York. I mean, I think there were some times when they would actually, like, especially during the era of the Beatles, you know, it's like New York stations would get the Beatles record before Hartford. I mean, Hartford was a 35th, 36th market. So it's going to be like, you know, it's like by Wells Fargo Stagecoach. We'll get the record like 3 days later or something like that. But you had some guys who wanted to be aggressive, so they might actually drive into New York, tape it off the radio, and then drive it back and then play it on the air or something like that. And occasionally you would hear like WABC. Oh, somehow that wasn't supposed to be on their airway, but they wanted to get every ounce of that song on their airways before before they had to fade it out or something like that. So there was nobody really there. I mean, Bob Steele, look up Bob Steele. I'm not going to bore you with who Bob Steele was. The only other guy I could think of was a guy by the name of Sandy Beach. And all he did was laugh. He had this laugh that kind of sounded like a dolphin going through a prostate exam. And that was his thing. You know, he didn't really say anything particularly witty. He was like, you know, I'm Sandy Beach. And believe it or not, I think he's still around. I've actually, you know, gone on the internet a couple times. Okay, here he is in Buffalo. Okay, here he is in some station in Long Island, and it just looks depressing because, you know, when you're a kid, you're listening to the radio, and it sounded like an exciting world, and you imagine that these people are larger than life, and to find out they're like in some hole in Dubuque is just very depressing. I mean, what we do here is just amazing. You know, it's like that's what we do here is above and beyond what radio should be. This isn't real radio. This is an anomaly.
If you could only save one of these two from dying, your choices are Jackie or Stuttering John. Who do you save? Please explain why you would like to see the other person not saved.
Slam dunk.
What do you got?
Jackie Martling. Jackie Martling, you know, in spite of the fact that maybe, you know, we've had our moments or whatever. I mean, you know what? We were very close personally off the air. Our wives, when he was married to, whoever he was married to, were very close. Jackie and I, when he wasn't complaining about everything, was a fun guy to hang around with. John, you know, I'm not going to get too down on him because that makes me look like a, you know, like a malcontent or something like that. You know, I don't hate John. Everybody has, oh, you hate John, blah, 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 you're jealous. And it's like, no, it has nothing to do with that. I just didn't particularly like his work ethic. You know, I think he got a lot from this show without really doing a whole hell of a lot. And that has nothing to do with where he ended up in his life. It has more to do with, you know, it was like, you know, he was like Huck Finn. He had everybody else painting the fences for him while he sat back and, you know, I mean, there were people who take great delight in telling, oh yeah, John had me do his work for him and he paid me $10. I'm like, no, that was John's job to do. It's like he's paying you to do that. I don't know. So if there is a reason that I'm not crazy about him in my lifetime, it's like, I don't know. I'm a sucker for people who work hard and people who are honest and people who don't try and flim-flam you. And I think he did all three.
John's not getting saved.
No, not by me anyhow. He'll talk someone else into taking the bullet for him, I guess.
I want to thank Fred for taking the time to answer the questions that you, the fans, submitted.
Aren't you sorry? Aren't you sorry you asked these?
Send your questions in. You can tweet them. You can Facebook them. You can send a video submission and be a part of the show. You can email them. Remember, this is your show, so don't screw it up. Until next time, I'm Rachel Fine, and I hope you had a fine time. Did you have a fine time today?
Yes, I did.
I had a fine time, too.
And if I didn't say that, Richie Wilson would have beat the out of me.
you doing, Tom?
I'm well.
Good morning.
Good morning. What's good about it?
Well, nothing. It's Monday.
I got 3 hours of sleep.
Yeah.
I've got hemorrhoids the size of golf balls. Where am I going?
I should say bad morning to you.
It is a bad morning.
Right here.
Screw morning. I'm a comedian. What am I doing up at this hour?
I know.
This is wrong.
This is not right. So how are you feeling, Tom? I mean, I know you've gotten to know Howard a bit through America's Got Talent and your run on that show.
Yeah.
So how do you anticipate this going, making the transition to the studio?
I think it's going to be kind of like having warts burned off your penis. It's going to be painful. There's going to be some blood. Not looking forward to it, to be honest with you. I am. I'm actually honored to be here. Thrilled. Big fan has.
Well, I hope it's not as painful as what you just described.
Like you've never had warts burned off your penis.
All right, maybe a few, but
a few.
I think if it's under 10, it doesn't count. So
no, it's always an under 10.
All right, man. We'll see you in the studio.
Thanks, buddy.
All right, thanks.
Yeah. All right. Tom Cotter was on America's Got Talent. I am a judge on America's Got Talent. I, of course, encouraged him, and I felt he was terrific. I think he should have won. But he didn't.
America voted.
America have voted, and they voted not for Tom Cotter, but he came in number 2. Hey, Tom, good to see you.
Be seen.
Thank you. Sorry we were late with you. We had 2 black gentlemen in here yelling at each other.
I heard that.
Yes.
And nothing's better than that.
Nothing's better than 2 black guys yelling at each other, so there you go. Tom.
Yes, sir.
Well, what is it like to make that decision to go on America's Got Talent? Now, what I heard was that you didn't like Piers Morgan as a judge when you used to watch the show on TV.
Yeah.
And you would, maybe years ago even thought about going on America's Got Talent, and you said no way because of Piers?
Well, he had a stick up his ass. I think we all know that. And you replaced him, and you're comedy friendly, as is Howie. So it made it much more agreeable for comedians to come on. The first year, 2 comics made it to the semis. I credit you guys with that.
Right.
And, making it to the finals first time, that's all because of you and not because of him.
Well, I'm glad to hear that because, I'd like to think that maybe I had a positive influence and that maybe people showed up that wouldn't normally show up because they would think that I would be friendlier to them.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Pierce hated comics. I think he had his, funny bone surgically removed as a child or something. He's a bitter man.
Could it be a difference between the British sense of humor and the, the American sense of humor? Maybe that was it.
I think he's just, I don't know who peed in his cornflakes. The guy just did not like comics. And he threw people under the bus, too. So coming on the show is a risk because it can help you. Or, they can say something nasty and set you back a couple years, which they have in the past. So
yes.
I was worried about that, too.
Yeah, I often think about that. If I was a stand-up comic, would I go on one of these shows? Because if they blow you off early and tell you you're shit.
Yeah.
I mean, that could really hurt.
You're not just back to square one. I mean, you got to start fresh again. You got to, dig out of that hole for the next 2 years.
If you had to do your whole life over again, would you choose to be a stand-up comic? And I really want to know the truth.
This year turned things around, obviously, dramatically. But until this year, I was scratching and clawing, and it's tough. All my friends have the white picket fence and the BMWs and the driveway and the 401k.
And what do they do for a living?
Lawyers, right?
Doctors, lawyers, Wall Street guys, and,
I understand it because when I got into radio, all of my friends seemed to be getting set up in life. And they, people looked at me like I was insane. I mean, I was making $96 a week, and who in radio has any kind of security, and who even gets, to make a good living in it? And it's still like that today. Most of my friends are really up shit's creek because they're in radio, and now they're too old to get out of radio, and it's mind-boggling how bad the business is. And I mean, I'm lucky. I'm very lucky that I was successful at it, but it's such a bad business.
It is.
And stand-up, I mean, even going to these clubs and stuff, a lot of them have dried up, right?
Yeah. Oh, it's horrible. Yeah, it used to be the rock and roll of the 80s, and I, of course, got in after that because I'm a moron. And then, then it started to wane. Karaoke killed it, for a while. Because every night, I started in Boston, and in Boston, there was comedy every night of the week. You couldn't take a night off. There was.
So you're telling me people would rather hear some guy get up out of the audience and sing badly than hear a comic?
For club owners, it was cheaper. Comics were showing up all jacked up on cocaine if they showed up at all, whereas, the karaoke machine's always going to be there.
Did that make you angry when other comics don't treat it that seriously? seriously, and they ruin the business for a guy like you who does take it seriously and you work hard at your craft?
I think the funniest guys ever in the business were the guys who were troubled and had issues. So, I can't throw stones at that.
Did you ever try and go out and get troubles? I mean, seriously, did you ever try to make your life full of like Kinison was out of control, but one of the most brilliant comics there was. Did you ever say, maybe I'm just playing life too safe? I got to go be crazy.
Let me get a heroin habit.
Yeah, right.
My
Did you ever try heroin?
Never tried that.
Maybe you needed to.
Perhaps. Those guys, Richard Pryor, all the way back to Belushi, all those Tears of a Clown, they're all screwed up. They're all,
Are you a screwed up guy in that sense, or do you think you're too normal?
I think we all have issues. I certainly have mine.
Was your issue your father? Your father was a neurosurgeon, right?
Still is. He's not dead.
Still alive.
Let's calm down on that.
And but it looked to you, to your father, you look like a fuck up because you were going into comedy.
Yeah.
And so do you think maybe that's your big issue with your dad?
Well, my dad put himself through on the GI Bill, went to World War II,
right.
Scratched and clawed, put himself through medical school on the GI Bill, and then put 6 kids through private school and college. And when his youngest decided to tell jokes about his crotch in front of strangers in a basement,
and you were a good
like,
student.
I should have pulled out. No, my dad was a brilliant guy. I was not a good student.
You were not?
Well, I was all right.
He wanted you to be a lawyer.
He wanted me to be a lawyer, yeah.
Right. Do you ever look back on your life and say, I should have listened to my father, I should have become a lawyer? Because the road in comedy, because I think you're an exceptionally brilliant comic. I really meant that when I said it on America's Got Talent. I saw you one time doing a rehearsal, and they don't encourage us to watch rehearsals as judges, but I did anyway. I just watched it, and you did this amazing set. But you did it on the roll of a dice, like you used a die, and you had Nick roll it, and it came up, and you did your set. I said, I hope he does that set. He probably, no matter what number, he's just going to do that set. It was so fucking great. Came out, the die went or something, and you pulled out a whole nother act. Or maybe it wasn't even the thing with the dice, like you actually, in rehearsal, did a whole different act that was brilliant. And then you went on and did some other act that was really, really great. But I was like, I wish you would have done that other material because it was so brilliant. You've got a lot of material.
I've been at it for 25 years, Howard. It would be pathetic if I didn't have a lot of stuff.
Yes, but you were able to pull it out and bring out this great stuff, and yet you are struggling. It's crazy to me. A guy like you should be on top of the world.
There are a shitload of us out there that are, below the radar, that are, that are out there.
What has happened since the show? Has the show made a difference?
The show has been great. This woman recognized me yesterday, and I will never forget what she said. She said, "That's him, officer, third from the left," and it felt good. She singled out last night. It's been good. Yeah, obviously, your stock goes up a little bit.
You did the America's Got Talent tour, right?
I did. Yeah. Well, it's not the tour.
Okay.
It's there's one show in Vegas,
right?
That's stationary at the Palazzo, and then there's a tour that also goes around. Diddleman's on the tour.
Oh, is he?
He is.
The crowd loves him, right?
The crowd loves Diddleman. I love Diddleman.
The Mentalist.
Yeah. Great dude.
Yeah.
You like him?
Of course I do. Great dude.
I recently had, who the hell did I have on? I had Horse on. And
I know.
And he said he didn't like the Sand Artist. He didn't like him as a person. Did you not like certain people backstage?
Yeah. First of all, I heard that he had kind of shit on Joe Castillo. Joe Castillo couldn't have been the nicest guy. He's an unbelievably sweet guy.
Right, seems like it.
Yeah, and so Horse had issues with him, and I don't even know what that is. And I would equate that, and I said to my wife that if your car was on fire on the side of the road, Joe Castillo would be the first guy to pull over, and Horse would drive by, beep, and give you the finger. That's the difference between those two. And Horse, by the way, we all have testicles. I can't look away. We all watch it. But even if his testicles are numb, it would still hurt to get hit in the penis. So I think he has a vagina. He has to have
Were you
vagina.
upset as a comedian who works at his craft for 25 years? Were you upset to be in the competition that long with a guy who gets kicked in the nuts? Honestly, did it bother you on some level?
You know what, Howard? I could not look away. There are acts that are great that I could look away, that I couldn't give a shit about. That act amazed me.
Me
could
too.
not. I was glued. I was cringing, but I was glued to this TV screen. I'd throw no stones at him.
So you're not a snob in the sense that you said, hey, comics have, in a sense, maybe I am. Comics have such a hard job to walk out and make people laugh. But yet, we got to be honest. That guy Horse, people love him.
People dug him. The crowds went nuts when he went. He was on, in my New York audition, he was on like 3 before me. That was the biggest response of the night, bar none. He was, and I couldn't even see what was going on. I just heard it. I just heard people going, "Oh!" And, I was like, wow, I got to see it. And I went home and watched it, and I was like, damn.
Were you really genuinely surprised that you made it that far in the competition?
Absolutely.
I couldn't believe. I thought you knew all along that you were that strong.
No, well, you're very kind to say that. Comics have never done well on the show. I'm going on the track record. And, I really thought the quarterfinals would be my swan song, and everything beyond that was gravy. You didn't know, but based on years past, comics just got kicked to the curb early.
When it came down to the two acts, the dog act and you,
which was shocking. I thought William Close was going to be there.
Right, the Earth Harp guy.
Yeah.
He did a great job.
You guys
he was
blew
the early
so much sunshine up his ass. I thought you guys
we blew a ton of sun.
Yeah.
I thought, you know why? Because I was looking for a band to win, maybe.
Yeah.
And I realized what an unusual band this guy put together. It was totally unique and original, and actually sounded good.
Yeah.
So I wasn't, I just thought he was terrific.
Great dude, great backstory, all that
whole
stuff.
thing.
This is what killed me, though. Howie kept saying, you got to step it up. His first audition, Williams he was the harp.
Right.
Second audition, the harp and a drummer. Third one, harp, drummer, band.
He
Fourth,
stepped it up.
Ballerinas, and by the end, he had some chick flying around the goddamn thing above.
Yeah.
He had so much shit on the, and I'm like, what can I do? I could light my balls on fire. No one is going to give a shit. So, I mean, that's what I was up against the whole time as a monologist. I'm like, what do I do?
No, you had to come out each week and be funny. That's it. There's nothing you can do. You can't light your balls on fire.
Well, I was worried that you of all the judges were going to shit on me for the Comedy on Demand thing because I thought you were going to say it's a gimmick. What are you doing? Tell your jokes. So
I thought you showed off, and it just showed the depth of your material. I thought it was a brilliant move.
That was a tricky thing. I didn't know if that would work or not.
Did you ever attempt to sabotage the dogs backstage with one of those dog whistles or something where you could? I would think that I would do that if I was a contestant. I would have blown this dog whistle and fucked them up.
Get some meat, something.
Yeah,
you would do something.
Yeah, like plant gravy in the audience, something like that.
I will not besmirch that act. They're a great act. They get their dog treats from Lance Armstrong. I don't know what that means, but I am not bitter. I did draft Michael Vick to my fantasy football league the next day, but that is coincidental.
No. Didn't you kidnap one of the dogs and drop it off at a Korean restaurant? Something like that, someone told me.
No. But if it were Korea's Got Talent, I'm pretty sure they wouldn't have won.
So
anyway.
you growing up, you decide to become a comedian. Did you go to college?
I did.
And in college, you were going out and performing at all these different clubs?
No. Senior year, I did a muscular dystrophy telethon, had a showcase, a little thing, and I did that. And
first time ever you went up on a stage?
First time ever going up on stage.
Did you bomb?
The audience liked me, but I was disqualified because I said evil things about the faculty and the administration, so I was disqualified from the competition. But
did you actually have written jokes, like you had sat and thought about it?
Yeah. I had run for president of the student body.
Is it true when you ran for president of the student body, you lost to a dog?
No.
Is that true?
No, I lost to another dude, a human.
A human, yeah.
And up until then, I had painted myself as a goody two-shoes kind of guy, and so once I lost, I said, shit, all bets are off. So I just went up and just crapped all over the faculty, administration, the other fraternities, all this stuff. And the judges hated me, but the audience liked me. And I was like, wow, that was my first tease. That was like, I got to try this again.
So financially, what is the best year you could have as a comedian? Like here you are when what was the year that you point to that you really made some good money doing this thing?
I'm in the midst of it now
because of the show.
Absolutely, yeah.
That's fabulous.
Yeah, this is great.
Was there a time you almost said, "Hey, I'm not going to go do America's Got Talent because I don't want to stand in line"? Did you have to?
Absolutely.
Like you had to stand in line with all the crazies, right?
This is 6 seasons, and people said to me, my style is kind of rapid fire, and for 90 seconds they were like, "You are the perfect guy to do this. Do it." And for 6 years, I said, "Screw that," because I would watch it, and Pierce would shit on whoever came up, and I'm like, I'm not going to have that British pussy shit all over me in front of 19 million people.
Not after all the work you put into
exactly.
This.
So. Then, you come aboard and someone said, try it now. And I'm like, I'm not getting any younger. I'll give it a shot. So I went for it.
Were you thinking of leaving the business up until America's Got Talent? Like, were you actually considering it?
I was making a living. It's just I didn't want to be out on cruise ships anymore. I was doing gigs for Fossils and Foreigners out on the sea, and it just sucked.
And why does it suck so much? Is it because you're away from home and your kids?
Yeah. And you're off the radar. I mean, because if there's a last-minute audition, they're not going to send a helicopter for for you. You're out in the middle of the Caribbean. You're
Right.
done. You're screwed. So you miss everything.
What kind
And
of
you
money
can't-
can you make being on a cruise? Can you make some decent bread, though?
It's
to support
decent. I mean, it's
Yeah.
decent, and I liked working for those people. They were great, and it's wonderful, and I may do it again in the future at some point. But
Right.
I don't. It's you know.
And you were also doing like voiceovers and you were doing very well at that. But even that business has kind of dried up in a
Well,
sense.
you know what the issue with that is? Before you'd audition against maybe 100, 150 other guys. Now everybody can go into their walk-in closet with their laptop and audition. So now you're auditioning against 1,000 guys or
Right.
2,000 guys for the same spot, and it's just supply and demand.
What was the biggest commercial you ever did as a voiceover guy?
Voiceover. I was the voice of Pepsi, Max, and Doritos. God, the
You
one
were the
that-
voice of Doritos.
Well, the product when they came out with Wow. First, it was Wow. Remember, there was the one with the Olestra. It had the
Yeah,
chips.
it was fat free.
Yeah,
That
the
didn't take
issue with that
off.
was anal leakage. They had in their warning label, may experience anal leakage, and so they changed it to Doritos Max, and then they said abdominal crumping and loose stools, and that was a better. I swear to God, that's the truth. But I got
Did
to go
you
in and
have
read
to
for all
say
those.
that?
Were you a Dorito? Did you play a Dorito?
No, that was beyond camera. I did most of the voiceovers. I did all the voiceovers.
So you were like, hey, I really liked Doritos are
Yeah.
great, and you did that.
All that stuff, yeah.
No kidding.
Anal
Doritos
cramping
Max,
and
you know,
loose
and I
stools.
had the Gen X voice at the time, and I was a big fish in a small pond. But then that all kind of went away when I started going out on the road. If you're out on the road, you can't audition. If you can't audition, you can't book. So
And being out on the road must suck for you because, as far as I know, you're faithful to your wife, so you can't even get laid out on the road. It's
can't
not,
get laid, you know, and I really do miss. My wife knew what she was getting into. She's a comic, so she knew
Right.
but the kids did not know, and they would literally sit on my luggage the night before and scream,
Aw.
and that was just it ripped your heart out. So you know.
But what can you do if you've done stand-up comedy your whole life? You couldn't leave it. I mean, at this point, you couldn't have, and
No.
so it's kind of a sad story, isn't it?
And
It's
you
a
got to go
shitty-
out on the road to make the money because
Right.
you're not going to make it in the city. So you have to be out
Right.
2 weeks out of the month at least, banging out that crappy the Chuckle Hut in Nebraska.
So what do we do now?
Yeah.
How do we maximize this whole thing?
Oh, we're going to
what
max.
are we doing?
We're maxing.
What are we doing?
First
What's
of all,
the plan?
There's a plan. You've got to get a television show, right? I mean, that's the next move.
Your lips to God's ears. We will see what happens.
That's
there.
what's got to happen.
Well,
I've heard some rumors.
I've heard
Yeah.
a couple
I heard
of
NBC's
rumblings.
high on you.
We'll see. We'll see what happens.
That's what I heard. I've got an inside voice in there.
They have been very nice to me so far.
How about a Tom Cotter T-shirt? What about that? I mean,
I don't know if we want that.
maybe a Tom Cotter sweater. I mean, you've got that look down.
Yeah.
Everyone knows you for that.
I got to get the sweater back to Richard Simmons by noon.
Yeah,
it's a little gay.
And your wife is a stand-up comic
She
too?
is indeed.
Can't somebody have a stable job in that family?
No.
Right.
Our
Somebody's
kids
gotta
are
make
gonna
a
be
living.
in therapy by the time they're 10.
Does she go out on the road and work?
She does a little bit. We have a 5-year-old now, and we have twin 10-year-olds, so she's kind of anchored at home. She's like many wives. She's put her career on the back burner to raise her
Does
kids.
she ever write material for you? Will she say
does.
She does.
Yeah.
Because why not? I mean, when you were doing America's Got Talent, did she ever write some of the jokes that you used?
She helped me punch him up, you know.
Yeah.
She and I both did. This is our third reality show on NBC. We both did Last Comic Standing.
Oh, did you?
How'd you do on that?
She went further than I did, and we hear about that every time we have a fight.
Right.
And then
Is
I
that
did
true?
a little thing on To Catch a Predator, but I don't want to talk about that. But
To Catch a Predator.
Yeah,
That's not the place you want to show up.
No.
I'm pretty sure that was a joke.
Yes.
Yes.
She went further than I. She went to the finals of Last Comic Standing.
Last Comic
Did she really?
Yeah.
What's her name?
Carrie Louise.
Carrie Louise. But she's banking on you making it now.
Yes.
Well, she's busy at home with the kids.
Yeah, but maybe Tom should be home with the kids and Carrie Louise should be out there. Did you meet on the road?
We did. Yeah, it was a workplace romance. We were both Boston comics, and we went and did a ski gig together over New Year's. And my parents had a ski place up in New Hampshire, and I,
seduced her there.
Yeah, basically.
How long did it take you to get in her pants? One nighter, huh?
No, she made me work, man. She made me work hard. She didn't want to be one of those. There were certain comics that dated a lot of comedians,
Right.
and one of them was named Comic Relief, and she didn't want to be that person. So she made me.
Did she date
work
other
hard.
comedians before
She did.
you?
Yeah.
She did.
Yeah.
Who's her most
I would
famous?
much rather not discuss it because
You know
it
the
makes
whole
me
list?
nauseous and gives me loose stools and abdominal cramping.
Is it a long list of comedians?
It is. It is a short list. Yeah.
A short. Now, while you were on America's Got Talent, some comics were very supportive, like Louis C.K. and Sarah Silverman. True?
Yes.
What, on Twitter they were?
Jim Gaffigan and obviously Lisa Lampanelli and a lot of people who that was the thing. Here's the thing. I don't think they liked me. I think they liked the fact that a comic was doing okay in the show, and they didn't want the comic to lose to the guy getting shot out of the cannon. So I was kind of waving that banner. So people I didn't expect, my friends, Greg Fitzsimmons, your friend, other people were tweeting for me, but guys I did not expect to tweet for and that I did not ask for were, really sweet and really nice to do all that.
Yeah, because
I thought the judges gave a little too much coaching to that ventriloquist.
I gave him coaching.
You literally told him what to do.
I absolutely did.
To stay on the show.
Absolutely.
Not fair.
Of course, that's, first of all, Tom, what are you going to tell him? The guy has good material. That's it.
Yeah, and that's what you should be banking on, is a guy who already has the motivation and incentive and the talent. Not telling a guy what to do.
They said to me, do you have words of advice for these guys? And I said, yeah, if it was me and I had a dog act like that, I would use
I'd go get somebody to write for me.
That's right, because he didn't have good material. And I said, it's got to be super topical. Throw in some stuff that's going on in the political race. It was hot right then. And I told the guy, and the fucking guy went through. I know what I'm talking about.
I always resented
Howard, that got in my head.
You told him.
You told him to do that.
Yeah,
and so I was like, holy shit, Howard wants topical stuff. What do I do? And then I was like, oh, shit, I don't know if I want to do anything topical.
Well, it wasn't that. I saw his act, and I said, what could he do to win? If he even does 6 mediocre jokes, all he needs is 6 with that great puppet.
Yeah.
Because that illusion is good with
It's
the puppet.
an awesome
and
illusion.
it's half dog, half puppet.
Yeah.
And I said, it's so great. I said, all he needs is like some Jay Leno type monologue stuff, and he will kill.
And then what did he do? He got the set of the Tonight Show on the stage and did exactly that.
And he went ahead. And the audience votes. I don't vote. They are asking me what he could do. I told him what he could do.
Yeah, but I thought that was it was almost like writing a prescription for him.
That's right. I'll do it for any of the candidates.
But Tom had to do it on his own.
Well, hey, good for Tom.
I mean, and the guy, you couldn't be with that guy for the rest of his career.
Hey, Robin, what are you attacking me for? Tom's the contestant, not me. What the fuck you want from me? I'm trying to make the show interesting. Trying to keep it real.
He was a great dude. I liked, all the competitors. I know people want you to throw other people under the bus, but they really were. We were sequestered for so long. In these
the little kids
rooms.
didn't annoy you when they were dancing and shit.
No, they were my height. That hurt my feelings a little bit. But they were actually perfectly pleasant, and their parents. A little annoying, but God, I've seen that so many times. When I used to do commercial stuff, you'd see these parents show up with these kids, and they wouldn't let the kids move because your hair's going to get messed up or whatever. And I'm like, let the kid be a kid. And the mother was always like 600 pounds, and she was like reliving her life. And
it's disturbing.
God, I hated that. Yeah.
So you saw some of that going on back there.
Well, yeah, but most of them were nice.
Yeah. The ones without the whips. So when doing America's Got Talent. And all this was going on, I was thinking about you because then I read that you had some show on Comedy Central. You had a special. When that happened, you must have thought, wow, this is going to be the moment, right? They're going to give me a special on Comedy Central, and it's going to happen big for me.
Yeah. There are peaks and valleys, and the whole time. You do the Tonight Show, you think that's going to be a bump, and that becomes, there's 12 people and a couple of cameramen watching you at that hour.
You did the Tonight Show with Jay Leno?
Yeah.
And did you go out and do stand-up?
Yeah.
And afterwards you go, hey, the calls are going to start coming in.
Yeah, and they did a little bit. I mean, you get work in the corporate world and stuff, and that's great, and that tape opens some doors for you, but nothing like this. This is just gigantic. This is a huge market, huge audience, and, it's just...
I'm so glad.
The numbers are ridiculous. So, it's really... I fucked a leprechaun. No question about it. I'm happy about it, and very happy.
Someone told me, because you have to work clean on NBC and everything, and I thought you did a great job of that. And then everyone said, if you go to see Tom in a nightclub, he works really dirty.
I'm not really dirty unless they want me to be, but, you play to your audience.
Is it easier to be dirty?
I just did 4 shows at Vinnie Brand's room, Stress Factory, and the second show Saturday night, I just unleashed hell. I just, all this pent up, I was filthy. And there were some older couples that came that thought they were going to see the clean-cut guy in the suit, and I just bummed them out horribly. But all the drunks dug it, so, it's really all I cared about.
What do you ever say the C word for a cunt? You ever say that?
I think I've said it on stage once. No, that's a word I stay away from. But,
right. The F word.
All my stuff
Well,
is
give us a little dirty material. We've never heard it.
I used to do a long bit about nipple hair. About,
you did?
Yeah, it was just a horrible bit about nipple hair. And, that's not a clean bit of
nipple hair on a woman.
And my hope when I started comedy, my first 10 minutes was about having sex with a fat chick. That's all it was. It was 10 minutes on tagging a fat chick.
Is that something you still do in your act?
No, I've gotten rid of that a long time ago.
Well, why get rid of it? It sounds like something I'd want to hear.
Because it limits you. All the older comics kept coming up to. I started with Mike McCarthy, Joe Rogan, and myself. Kind of started in Boston at the same time, and we were the three amigos because no one wanted to work with us because we were filthy.
Oh, wow.
We would go up. None of the headliners wanted to follow us. They were like, it's not that we weren't. We were funnier than they were. We were just filthy, and they had to dig out of that hole when they got up there. So they're like, we don't want to work with them. So we were getting blackballed at all these clubs. And Rogan stuck to his guns. He was filthy and stayed filthy.
So funny, right?
I said, the other comics said, you got to clean it up, or you're not going to work at country clubs or colleges or anything. So I kind of.
Did Rogan date your wife?
No.
Thank God.
Yeah, that's a horrible image. Thank you very much.
When you have sex with your wife, do you ever think of the other comics that did fuck her? I mean, do you ever?
Wow.
Do you? The answer is yes, right?
Come on. Wow.
That's the mother of his children. Yes.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. That's right. I'm sorry. You have kids. I didn't know that. Well, I mean, I don't know. But you. So, what was your take on having sex with fat women? Did you enjoy it, or was it just the bottom of the barrel kind of thing?
It's fun. It was fun. Yeah. The more
and you're
the
a hero.
The better the pushing, and
Oh, so you liked
fat
it.
chicks are like mopeds. They're fun to ride, but you don't want your friends to see on them and all that stuff. Just, fat chick can suck a golf ball through a garden hose so she can turn your testicles into raisins in a matter of seconds. That was one of the lines. It was this long thing about never let them get on top because they'll crush you. It was just horrible. It was filthy.
Went on and on.
And then a clean comic would go up after that and go, the room's already ruined. I spoiled the room. Because now they had this image in their head, and then this guy's going to come up and talk about clean, clever shit. So
when you say other comedians were with your wife,
are
they good?
Shit.
Are they good comedians or are they bad comedians?
Well, they're all bad. They're all bad.
Were they headliners at least?
She had a couple of headliners.
She had a couple of headliners.
Yeah.
All right, good for her.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. No open micers.
Where's your wife? Is here today?
She is.
Can I say hello to her?
Howard.
Let me say hello to your wife.
My wife would love to. She would be honored to make your acquaintance. So yeah.
Carrie, you said her name.
Carrie Louise.
Carrie.
Yeah.
Carrie or
Louise.
Carrie?
Carrie.
Carrie Louise. Let me see Carrie Louise.
Formerly with
Carrie.
A heart over the eye.
She's beautiful.
Yeah, you are an attractive woman, I have to say.
She's a hot hunk of burning love.
Yes, you really are. Now, Carrie, if you won on Last Comic Standing, or if you came closer, why didn't you pick up the comedy career again and let Tom stay home with the kids?
I know.
Right? Think about it.
I know.
Did you lose a coin toss?
I know. I think I did. He comes home after being on the road for a little bit, and he can't even deal with the kids for like 2 minutes. And I'm like, welcome to my world.
Right. Yeah. So who can? It's tough. He's burnt out.
She's Lebanese though, so I can hit her, and that's good. No, I don't hit her.
So you were proud of him on America's Got Talent.
So proud of him, and thank you too. I mean,
I loved him.
For loving him.
And you know when I got upset the most? We shared the same agent.
Mm-hmm.
I had no idea. And evidently the people at America's Got Talent knew the whole time. I didn't know.
NBC.
And NBC knew, and everyone knew. So some reporter called me and said, we're going with the story that the reason you're so high on Tom Carter is it's because you have the same agent. And at that point I knew, and I went, oh, that's so unfair to Tom. I didn't care about me. You want to accuse me of, first of all, what am I going to get out of Tom having a successful career? My agent isn't going to cut me in. Number two, my agent wasn't working directly with you. He has a big agency.
Dude, you're the top of the food chain. I'm way down.
Well, my agent came to me maybe the fourth week in or something and said, oh, by the way, we have a client in this. I didn't even know. He didn't even know.
And I was completely vetted by NBC and everything because, we were worried that might look like impropriety or something. And they said, absolutely not, because there's thousands of clients of the Don Buchwald agency, and you're like his only guy.
Right.
And I have, a fine under agent Tony Burton, who's a fine human being, hung like a farm animal. And,
Is that true?
Yeah.
How do you know
chickens
that?
are farm animals.
Yeah.
And we.
I told him.
So I know, I don't get Don on the phone. I can't talk to Don. Don's your guy. So yeah. But anyway, that annoyed me too. And then I wanted to respond, but they wouldn't let me. NBC said,
I was. They told me not to respond, but I said that's not fair to Tom. I mean, because it takes away the fact that the guy's really talented.
And then they never ran with the story anyway.
No, they never
even
did.
brought it up.
Thank God,
Chicken
that was a
shits.
scary time.
Yeah. Then I was upset they didn't bring it up. Now, Kerry, it's not lost on me that you're a very attractive woman.
Keep it clean here.
No, you're very attractive, and I could see on the road other comedians must have hit on you like crazy. I mean, like crazy.
It was more comedians because just normal guys wouldn't want to. They felt intimidated. So the only people I could date were comedians.
Right. I understand
No
that.
one else would come on to me, just except comics.
Right. Now, what was it about Tom, out of all the other comics, that made you want to marry him?
I don't even know, because my New Year's it was New Year's when we it was New Year's Eve show, and my New Year's resolution was don't date any more comics. I didn't want to date any more comics.
Why? Because they had hurt you in the sense that they would go out with you and then be on to the next girl.
Yeah, and they weren't normal people. I think that's what. Tom was normal. He was a normal, loyal guy, I thought, and it took me a while though to really. Took a long time.
Long time.
How long did you make him wait before you allowed him into your love cave?
He said he thinks it's 3 months. That's not that
3
long.
months? That's huge.
3 months.
See, it's huge for a guy. I didn't think it was that long.
Oh, for you, it's
the second week.
Oh my God!
By the second week, when she was asleep, I was jerking off on her, which is it was kind of.
Is that true?
No, that's
we
not.
would do. I mean, we were doing a lot. We were doing a lot before that.
You would give him a hand job at least to release his pressure.
Yeah.
Well, that was nice.
Yeah.
I was doing a lot of stuff.
You would blow him before?
Yeah.
Oh, you
I mean,
would?
it was satisfying him. Remember that thing that we tried to do with the hot cocoa?
What?
In your basement apartment?
Yeah.
Remember that?
I get third-degree burns on my penis.
What happened? You were not having
I read
intercourse.
something that if you get your mouth really hot right when he was about to. So I had hot cocoa.
I cannot believe we're talking about this.
I'm remembering this right now.
So you put hot cocoa?
Hot cocoa by the bed, right?
Right.
And
you're
I was
blowing
gonna
him?
just get. Then I would drink some hot cocoa and then continue it.
Oh my
and it's
goodness!
supposed to be really good, but it didn't work out because it was too hot.
And it burned his penis?
It was a Swiss miss. I can tell you that right now. That was
Did you really have burns on your penis?
I don't want to discuss
I tried to be creative because so I was good.
She tried. She made the effort. Yeah.
Oh, look at Tom. Hot cocoa.
Yeah,
But why didn't the hot cocoa burn your mouth? Did you put it in your mouth first and then put it?
Well, we drink the hot cocoa and then and it was too hot, and then by the time it was ready, he was not ready.
Sensory overload. Just couldn't handle it. I mean,
Wow, yeah, it's too much.
You don't need to improve on a mouth. The mouth is perfect. There's nothing you can do in there to make it better. It's like,
But I like that you're up for experimentation. Do you feel you're still as open to crazy things, or has that kind of romantic love?
That has totally.
Yeah. Let me tell you,
just
marriage.
Too exhausted.
After about 3 years of marriage, her whole was off limits, and it still is. Cobwebs.
Well, how often do you guys have sex?
Jesus, honey, when was the last? God, what was
really
the Reagan administration?
Is it true? Do you really have you not had sex in a long time?
Well, I was away. I was in Vegas, and I just got back 2 nights ago, and we had her whole family there for Thanksgiving, so I couldn't stuff the turkey, if you will.
When's the last time you blew Tom? During America's Got Talent at all?
No, when she came to visit me in Vegas.
Vegas.
Oh, you did?
I showed up in Vegas.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh, how nice.
Kids were in the next room. It's hard,
Yeah.
Howard.
And you blew him. That's so sweet.
I cannot believe this is a conversation
We
we're
didn't
having.
have hot cocoa.
How about those Giants? They won last night.
Unbelievable, right?
Unbelievable.
Yeah, well, we're talking manly stuff. No, but you're a very attractive woman. I can imagine you got a lot of action or guys hitting on you constantly, comedians. Who was the biggest headliner you ever were with?
This is going to make me very uncomfortable.
Sam Kinison? Pee Wee Herman?
Oh, stop.
Who was it?
No,
Pee Wee Herman.
This is Boston headline. Oh, well, I kissed.
Who?
Do I have to kiss him? Should I?
Jay Leno?
Go ahead.
Who'd you kiss? Greg Fitzsimmons?
What's his name? Not Colin Quinn.
Colin Quinn.
Colin Quinn you kissed?
Colin Quinn?
Yeah.
Wow.
This was during a breakup with Tom and I, because we were going out for 6 years before he decided that he wanted to, and we had and I said, forget it, I'm done. It was
You
during
dated
the
him
breakup.
for 6
So
years?
you went and
I
kissed
dated
Colin Quinn?
Yes.
Well, why didn't you go all the way with Colin Quinn?
I don't know. He's like a He's more like a child. He was like a child. He's a child.
Colin is like a child.
I like Colin. He's a really nice guy, but
Right.
Yeah.
I love Tom. I love Tom. I did not want to break up with Tom.
So you said to Tom, "Hey Tom, it's time to get married already."
Yeah, and
and
he was like,
you weren't going to marry her. Look at her.
Well, you know, I just.
And she's had
See?
two. How many kids you got? Two.
I was
Three.
And look at that body.
Well, the third one really.
It messed you up.
Yeah, I'm all strapped up and duct taped and stuff.
Are you really? Because your
Yeah.
body looks slamming.
Well-
Can you wear a bikini?
Yes, she can.
Yeah,
She can rock a
sometimes.
bikini.
So what are you talking about?
Well, it's
We
and
got
those
stretch
are real.
marks?
See those titties? Those
I
are
don't have
absolutely
Are those
real.
titties real?
Those are
I didn't think they
perfect.
were.
They are
What are they,
absolutely
C's or
real.
Tom.
It's a good.
Is that a D cup?
No, see,
See, and they're real?
they're real.
Are they floppy or are they?
Yeah, they're long.
They
They're
are
long.
not.
My
They're
son
perfect.
came in. My 5-year-old son, came barging into the bathroom and started crying about something. And then, before he left, he's like, "Mommy, your boobies are really long."
Like cucumber titties?
So yeah, I don't know. I need this. I need a lift
A
and
lift.
a tuck. So
Why,
he
you
needs
got-
that TV show.
You got the, yeah, you need a TV
Yeah,
show.
I do.
You really do
Yeah.
need. In fact, I'm thinking the two of you need a TV show together.
Well,
This is pretty strong dynamic.
Yeah, well.
When
Like,
when I'm not strapped in and duct taped, and it's that time of the month, I look 4 months pregnant.
So when you make love to Tom, do you do it in the dark because you don't want him to see your stretch marks and stuff?
She doesn't have
I
stretch
don't
marks.
have stretch marks.
No.
Oh, so then what
I
do you
am
have?
lucky I don't have stretch marks. But it's like that. See, it's like my belly remembers the twins. And
Yeah.
that time of the month, if I haven't shit in a while, I look 4 months pregnant.
That's
I'm
my
not
beautiful
lying.
bride. That's my beautiful. That's the mother of my children.
No,
everybody.
I just want
Thanks
the
for tuning in today.
I'm
Holy
here for a
shit.
cause. I want the tummy tuck.
Oh my God.
You want one?
I need one. Yeah, I need.
But
my,
when they do
my,
it, sometimes
my
there's like a big
muscles-
scar.
My muscles. I have a C-section
Oh, you do?
because of the twins.
Right.
So
The
they'll
twins
just go
came
right
out
in my
through the
C-section.
sunroof. My Tommy, my youngest, it was D-back. So she had the worst of both
Yeah, I
worlds.
don't know
She
what
is
I was
just
thinking.
ruined
What do you mean?
down there.
What was so bad?
Because
You
I
said-
wanted to know what it was like for for a vagina.
Vaginal.
Vaginal
Yeah,
birth.
she
What
wanted
was
to
I
know what it was
thinking?
like,
'Cause
but
now-
anal fucking hurts. Yeah, so we can't do that.